Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and thanks for stopping by. Welcome to RGV Aerial Photography's deep dive into images he captured this week around the shipyard and launch site in Boca Chica, Texas. Our dedicated team will guide you through with the latest updates and theories at Starbase, Texas. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon for future streams.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Starbase Photo Review. My name is Mauricio, otherwise known as RGV. And today we have a special guest with us, but before we say that, or maybe you've already seen the title, I'll pass this along to Thomas.
Hello, this is Thomas. Glad to be here again. This is going to be an exciting episode. Tons of great content. Off to you, Grandpa Joe.
Hey guys, it's Grandpa Joe, your favorite space grandpa, rocket enthusiast and team space member, and looking forward to it. And over to you, Zach.
Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Zach, aka Golden Boy, and we are here for another episode of Starbase Photography Review. And as Mauricio said, we have a special guest with us this week. Hopefully you guys have heard of him. He goes by the name Felix from the channel What About It. So Felix, thank you for joining us.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. It's incredible to see so many people online, by the way. Thank you for coming. My name is Felix, normally the host of What About It, as introduced, and it's a pleasure to be here tonight. Back to you, Zach.
Yeah, Felix, I must say I was surprised. I mean, I think Mauricio at this point enjoys surprising me, or us in general. I have alerts on for Mauricio's tweets. If the rest of you don't, then you're missing out because, a lot of people have a lot of followers on Twitter, but they're not like super active. I would say Mauricio is one of the more active on Twitter as far as dropping things that you may want to set an alert for. So I would do that if I was you guys, because if I didn't have that on, I would probably be finding out today that Felix was going to be joining us. So make sure you guys set those alerts, because they're really helpful. And with that being said, man, I'm really excited for you to join us, Felix. It was definitely a pleasant surprise, and I hope you studied up, like I said, on Twitter.
Yeah, it was a very spontaneous thing yesterday evening, basically. Mauricio messaged me on my phone, and I was, of course, very happy to get the message. And yeah, here I am, anytime.
That's awesome. Well, with you being the guest today, I guess maybe you should choose where we start off today. We have Obviously the launch site is where we tend to go second because a lot of people tend to join us a little bit late sometimes. So we cover that at the end. But we have the whole build site over here. Is there any area that you've been looking at in particular lately?
Well, I've been taking close looks at the wide bay because that's the most interesting part for me right now. They are also starting the factory. There's tons of interesting stuff happening there right now. Honestly, hard to choose.
Yeah, I like to go with what's the most boring for a lot of people, which is Sanchez, because you gotta sometimes make people understand that it isn't as boring as it appears to be, And this is like, I would say it's the receiving area of the site. There's always like tons of things over there to find, but I think, like you said, we could start with the wide bay, and we could probably we could circle back around to it multiple times because there are several things to talk about it, and I'm sure people are also going to have questions as the show goes on related to the wide bay. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at it.
It's going to be an exciting show, and I already have 50 Australian dollars donated by Martin Hogan. I'm pretty sure he's happy to have Felix here today. Thank you, Martin.
Thank you, Martin. Wow. Look, your support, it really goes to keep Mauricio flying, and his pictures are what feed, a good portion of what Felix is able to give to us and the analysis that we're able to give to y'all. So your contributions are so appreciated. Thank you, Martin.
Become a flight supporter.
I just realized I actually want to step back out to the distance view just so I can kind of give a little quick overview of a lot of things that are happening here. So number one, as Felix mentioned, we have the Star Factory, which is starting to take shape, and it looks like, at least from this angle, that the concrete is a little bit over halfway done on this first section of it. So ideally, I believe they may have started actually putting up these vertical columns yesterday. Is that correct, Mauricio?
They don't seem to be those in particular, the ones you're pointing at, but I believe there were some shorter ones. If I had to estimate, they probably measure about, I don't know, anywhere from 10 to 20 feet, 10 to 15 feet. The ones that I saw, they're kind of short. I guess you'll get to those images when we get there, but yeah, they started doing that possibly yesterday in the early hours because they weren't there during the flyover.
Yeah, and I'm guessing you're talking about
I'm talking about
these
the ones
pieces
on the
right
left.
here.
No, not those. The ones on the left. The ones on the perimeter, on the left perimeter.
And thank you, Jim Cabot, for the
Those.
$5 donation.
Yeah, I'm talking
these
about
super
those,
short ones?
Yeah, those, I estimate they were between, well, now that I'm looking at them,
like 4 feet tall.
Yeah, 5-10 feet, because there's some that are a little bit taller. They're not all the same length.
Right.
So what are we estimating the overall height of the building will be? What does it need to be at the minimum?
About 60 feet if you're going to ever put a nose cone through there for just the nose cone without the barrel section.
Yeah, at one point I was hoping that they would make it tall enough, maybe 80 feet plus, to allow the nose cone and the jig to move it, or possibly a few rings. But I don't think we're going to get to that height, especially with these columns being as short as they are.
Felix, I think you actually did a pretty good job covering what you thought the Star Factory structure would end up looking like. Do you think that it needs to be about the same height as the rest of the tents?
Yeah. I'm busy calculating feet in meters here right now, by the way. I'm going to have such a hard time with that imperial system once I'm in the US.
Hey, we can talk in meters.
That just on the side. I do believe, because there is one problem that SpaceX is going to face when they're building this factory, is that they will want to continue production, of course. If they take down the tents, where are they going to produce? So I really do think that they'll have the crazy idea of they're building this first building there that we're seeing the foundation of right now, and the beams coming in and everything's is really exciting to see that thing go up. I've been waiting for that for a while. But then I do think that there's going to be a second building that is going to be above the tents. I think they are going to drag the tents out of the doors. I've thought about this many times, and I do not find any other solution. because this first factory building is going to be too small to fit everything in. The 3 tents are not going to, the production from the 3 tents is not going to fit into that first factory part. So that is my idea. I know it sounds crazy, but I think it would actually be feasible to do that. So it's going to be at least as large as those tents, probably larger, of course, higher. That's my idea.
You could think in 3 dimensions. They'll dig a basement and pull it out through there.
Oh yeah. It's
No way.
going to be
Just
hard
kidding.
to make a basement with a water table being like, what, 20 centimeters below? I don't know what that's in feet. 20 centimeters below the ground or something.
Yeah, right about a shovel's depth, and you've hit water.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's my idea. So I don't know if that's true, but if that is correct, it needs to be at least as high as the tents, actually higher, of course.
Right, that's what I was estimating as well. And I think that would be 20 to 30 meters.
All right, thank you.
A question from Mars Troquin asks, how tall do you think the new Star Factory building will be? What do you think, Felix, on the height in meters here?
Since I do not precisely know how tall the manufacturing tents are right now, I'm pretty sure somebody here must have measured them before. But I do think the building itself will be roughly a third higher than those tents, at least. I don't know what that is, though, because I've honestly never measured them.
I measured around 60 feet, which is about 18 meters ish. So give or take some height there.
Yeah, so 80 feet, at least.
Okay.
Zach, if you're talking, you are muted.
Oh,
So-
sorry about that, guys. I was muted, and I was gonna say that 80 feet would maybe be about what the low bay is, or shortly a little bit below that. Correct?
The tent is about 2/3 the height of low bay there. So yeah, it would be about the size of low bay at the maximum height.
Yeah,
And-
sounds about good.
With the width, if they kept the same angles, I calculated it out to be like 78 to 80 feet, 26 meters ish. And but yeah, that would be just short enough that they couldn't pull a nose cone through with the stack. So it'd be about as high as the iron hinge, the low bay.
Thank you for that question, Mars Triquin. And to ask questions, type !question, and it will pick it up as we're going along and try to put it more where it's relevant as far as questions go. But yeah, go ahead and ask those questions. We'll be answering them throughout the show.
You know, before I slide over to the Sanchez side, the reason I use this image, even though it is as far away as it is, it's kind of a little bit hazy. This just reminds me of, I can't remember what that movie company is, the production company. That this looks like their opening scene on.
Yeah, isn't it Warner Brothers? Isn't it Warner Brothers? No,
Yeah,
it isn't.
possibly.
Or is it?
Or MG.
I know exactly the scene you mean, where you see these waves going through.
Yeah,
as well.
doesn't it
There's
zoom
Matrix.
out?
In the beginning of Matrix, it happens too, so it must be Warner Brothers.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, totally.
I think they should redo that and use this image. This is really cool.
So
what was that?
Oh, so what you're saying is this is all a movie set?
Looks like it. Elon kind of treats it that way as well too, occasionally. But let's move over to the Sanchez site then. Why don't we start in our normal spot? There's always something to see over here. And actually, you know what? I need to grab an image, which I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to use that one today. But I want to start with this piece of equipment right here, because this actually moved to the launch site this morning. A few people were able to capture it on Lab Padre's VR camera. So they tend to move things early in the morning before people are really paying attention, but we're always paying attention. So we were able to capture that before it made its way into the launch complex. And if you guys watched last week, we were kind of assuming that this is most likely related to a booster quick disconnect. And it really kind of makes a lot of sense if you think about, obviously, the location of it currently being, constructed next to the transport stand. But I don't know, its shape is kind of throwing me off a little bit on whether or not this is actually what I think it is. But let's see if I can actually find that image. I may have that from this morning.
Felix, why do you think they started adding on the quick disconnects in such a structured manner to the transport stands?
Yeah, I thought about it. I do think they keep them. No. Well, I'm not too sure, to be honest. I looked at it, and it's one possible reason could be for them to use the transport stands for testing.
Or
But
storage? Yeah.
storage, exactly. It is not for pressurizing them while they are on the move, because they obviously don't need to do that. So, yeah, that would be the only reason I could come up with. Maybe so that they can put them down and just connect them to the tank farm and start testing.
So I was able to find an image of this thing, and this really gives you an appreciation for how large this structure is.
That's pretty
you
big.
can see the truck right here. It's pretty massive. So what I'm kind of thinking is that your cryo tubes will come up through, I believe this is the bottom, so they'll come through the bottom and then turn through the top. And then I don't know if the gas lines would come up in between. So you have two liquid lines, and then you have three gas lines that come. Actually, one of them is the methane bleed line, which, so I guess it's half and half gas and liquid, right? But yeah, so I'm thinking that that's what this is going to be used for. And, we just saw them they're preparing to take the booster off of the test stand. So I don't know if they're going to be attaching this onto the actual booster transport stand, or if we should expect to see it on the can crusher.
Looks like something you'd add to the can crusher. I mean, the entire thing has the platform where you have, look on the right side of that. You can see that it's basically a platform. It's got a sheet of metal right there, as if that's the walking platform. And there's no way that this could be stood up on end without bolting it down and having something else to counterweight it. So you're looking at maybe up against the can crusher or something else approximate in height.
Yeah, I mean, I'm imagining the actual QD, the booster quick disconnect, being in one of these boxes, and when you look at the height of this, it's actually almost about the same distance as, like, if it had to reach into here to actually contact the booster, it would be quite a distance that it travels, because this transport stand is, like, I don't know, 12 meters ish in diameter, and the booster is only 9. So you have to reach in 3 or 1.5 meters to actually contact it, right? So I don't know. I think this makes sense for having to, like, curve over the structure in order to touch the booster. I think we'll get somebody to probably model that within the next few days. I'm pretty sure people are already on top of that. Hopefully we'll get some good views of what it looks like, or they'll just start installing it here later this week.
Yeah, especially
today.
I mean, especially if it's going to be attached on a platform outside of that ring. So you'd have to need something to reach in. Yep.
We got another image actually right here of what it looks like from the top. And this is also super grainy, but you can see, as Thomas was saying, it has that cutout in the top of it. With like a walking platform around it. And just want to throw a shout out to Lab Padre for his VR cam. So thank you. We were able to capture that this morning. That was really awesome being able to catch that when it came into the launch site. So swapping back over.
Is the VR cam still members only for Lab Padre?
Yes,
it is.
Awesome. Yeah. No, that is so worth it. Yep.
So real quick, we've got a donation from Paul Sidu, donated £2 British. So thank you very much for that. And also I've sent you a couple of pictures showing the ground shot of the transport stand. So they made a couple of adjustments since this picture was taken to the transport stand.
Let's see here.
So one of
Yeah,
my thoughts with the adding of the quick disconnect to the transport stands is it allows you to pre-position the transport stand, and after a booster lands, you can then immediately transition it to the transport stand for further testing, and then if it passes, reload it, just for rapid testing and launch cadence.
So this image right here is actually showing the new transport stand. Sorry, I'm a little bit distracted in the background. Just looking at what other images we had of this. So this is, the clamps or the receivers for the clamps being added onto the transport stand. So I'm guessing this was the day after Mauricio's flyover. So you also did ground shots this week, right, Mauricio? And this is from 2 days after the flyover?
Actually, this from yesterday. The flyover was done on the 13th, which is Wednesday, and these ground shots were taken yesterday.
Yeah, they're. I guess that shows they're moving relatively quickly on this. And as you all know, for those who have been with us for a few weeks, we are assuming, and it usually turns out correct in this case, that these transport stands are necessary. Well, this one in particular is necessary for Booster 8 to be stacked. So as long as Booster 4, 5, and 7 are not scrapped and or haven't flown, then they need a new transport stand for pretty much every booster. So as soon as we see this get close to completion, then we should expect that final stack on Booster 8. And I think we got a little bit, like maybe 3 or 4 weeks left. They seem to get faster each time on these, but it really depends on what they're prioritizing. Sometimes they're working on the Starship stands, but as you can see, these ones really haven't gotten much attention lately. So there could be a lot of reasons for that. I think, Ship 21 does not use the same. Never mind. That one is on a completely different transport stand. Let me not even go down that road.
But it just looked like ship rings. So anything with 9 meter diameter or ships themselves, you can mount it down to the ground. They've got the pads to do that. So 21, we just heard about that one being dissected the other day. But this one looks like it'll basically be the same kind of stand structure. So it's got the 6 legs where you can put it down and bolt it down to the ground.
Right. What I was thinking is that the transport stand for 21 could be used for Ship 24, but I don't even think Ship 21 was on a transport stand like this with clamps on it. So that probably isn't necessary. But, and also, I don't think the interface is the same for the stage separation between those two, so it probably also isn't able to be used for 24. But, we looked at this last week. Still waiting on some more developments on this, kind of like trying to figure out what it is. But as Thomas guessed last week, they ended up putting these plates on top. And there most likely is going to be another ring structure on top of this. And still haven't figured out what exactly they're going to do with it. But we think it's related to this this ring right here, which you would sit a nose cone on top of while you're testing it for structural integrity. But again, I keep hoping that this is going to be like more progress on that, because I'm really excited to see, like, anytime I see something that we haven't seen before, I'm always really excited to see what it ends up being, because we like to guess and make assumptions and sometimes model them to try and predict what it's for. But in this case, I don't think we're any closer to figuring that one out.
Speaking of which, there is a little bit more information on those black pieces now in the left corner. Yeah. Those are a 9 meter diameter, so they do not go around the launch table. So they're just around 9 meters. I can't get the exact height precisely, but it's close enough to 9 meters to say, yeah, it's not going around the launch table.
Well, that's pretty depressing. I guess we got to come
Felix,
up with some more ideas.
What do you think that these objects are, or what would you think that they'd be used for?
I was just looking at that stress test. I haven't even, if you go a little bit to the left on that picture, I haven't, that we just talked about. No, a little bit up, and yeah, that ring there with that looks exactly like the one they built earlier. Like, I don't know, almost a year ago, the white one that you put the nose cone in. I haven't
So-
even seen that yet. So this is really cool. I'm learning a lot from you guys right now.
I can actually show you, the structure that was connected to. Let me just move over to this
Yeah,
other
it
image
looks
right here. You
looks-
can see the
Yeah,
call it
it
the
looks
nose cone jail.
exactly the same. Yeah, it looks exactly the same like what they built last time. So that is 100%, I guess. Those black ring segments, if they are 9-meter diameter, which by the way is incredible that you were able to extrapolate that.
Yeah, who figured that out, Thomas?
It's something new. That's all I can say about that. I've never seen these kinds of parts, and so hard to say.
You know,
It's really hard to say. I want to take the moment though, because we haven't mentioned that yet. These guys know tons about these kinds of pictures, and I think it's incredible that you're doing these reviews. I've watched them myself a few times. I wasn't active on the chat, but I've watched them. And if everybody can take the moment to hit the like button, this is really, really important for us content creators, because it feeds the algorithm and spreads it even more. So the more the merrier. Hit the like button. Thank you.
yeah. Once again, we're super glad to have you here. It's nice having guests on so we can get people who maybe have or haven't looked at this stuff as close, because in my opinion, people who aren't as familiar with everything kind of tend to notice things that we don't, because we're sometimes you get that tunnel vision where you're just looking for certain things and you just skip right over something that's pretty obvious. So
Yeah, so I'm thinking about these black objects again. When I did a measurement to figure out the height, it showed that there would be at least 5 of these, so we're missing one in order to make a complete circle.
let's see if I can see this from a different angle.
But there's another element to it. Is we're talking about structural test stands, or just a structural stand or test stand, and that could easily be part of a nose cone or for max Q testing, or something similar to that effect, where it's replacing, let's say, a 6-foot ring at the bottom, that kind of thing. So if you look at the that large coil of steel just below it, it's 6 feet. Those are almost exactly 6 feet as well. So there is some conciseness there that says that it's replacing some sort of ring. But yeah, if you go back to the picture up above with the three, the three, whatever you call the
Right here.
Yeah, that one. It's the picture we've got a ground shot of as well here that I pointed out to you here, so that we can kind of understand what's going on, at least from a ground perspective. They've got quite a bit of structure built into these. So on the left side, they've got plenty of, I guess you could call them fins or something like that. But it's extremely structural to keep this all stable. And they're doing the same thing on all 3 with that plate at the top. And you can see that they've got 2 of the fins on the one on the right.
Yeah, this thing's gonna be holding a lot of weight.
You know what? It kind of. Can you show me the picture from above again?
And is it just me, or does it look like it's upside down?
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. It kind of looks like they're going to flip it around, because these look like feet, to be honest. Feet that can hold a lot of weight.
Yeah. The craziest thing that we came up with as an idea is that this is the same asterisk shape as what they have or had about a year and a half ago under the orbital launch mount. So they had this weird structure in there that was like an asterisk shape with I-beams.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And this one's even larger than that one. But the feet are way too close to the ground unless you're putting those other pipes up above. So you might be extending the pipe so it's all shippable and detachable or something. But yeah, unless this is going to Florida, I don't understand why they'd be building it here.
Yeah, flame diverter.
Why would they kind of sending it to Florida wouldn't make any sense. They could just build it in Florida, I think.
Well, they kind of do the same thing on both sides, where they have crews in Florida will work on something, build it, send it to Boca Chica, and then it gets used like a couple weeks later.
It's large though. It is even wider than the 9-meter diameter. So what is it, like 12 or something? And that is
it's
hard to transport.
Well, it's bigger than the center of the launch table. So this one, if this was going to a launch table, it'd be bigger for a launch table. And the crazy part is, it does look like it's bolted together. So you could detach it.
Yeah, there's definitely bolts down in here.
Okay.
Even if it were unbolted, it's still wider than a standard lane. You would need a wide lane permit the entire way to Florida, which is totally possible. But boy, that would be annoying.
So
then like I said, then why not build it in Florida?
Right. And you end up having to build it in Florida anyway because you took it apart.
Well, they ship things from here to Florida all the time, so it wouldn't be, it wouldn't be unnormal. It would be normal if they did that. I mean, it's like one of those things where yes, it's easier to do down there, but given the fact that they're still doing expansion on the Roberts Road facility, they may not have the actual floor space yet. That's not still being having construction on it. So starting something like this here and sending it down there I wouldn't want to ship this down there.
Well, the pipe stands might be able to be unbolted as well. So if there's bolts on the pipe stands, all you have is just a 90-degree angle essentially on those I-beams, and that's all you have to unbolt to ship it down there. You throw it together and you stick up a couple of legs on the launch pad, and you're good to go. That's the only thing I'm thinking that it could be at this point, that I haven't heard any other good ideas. If you do have a good idea of what you think this is, type ! questions and say, do you think this could be, X, Y, Z, or whatever you think it is, and we can go through some of those ideas as well.
There is already people saying that it is a water tank, and they're probably referring to my old water tower story.
That water tower story that you had, there was one element that I was like, oh, that could never happen. It was these angled legs going up and then going straight up from there. And I was like, oh, there's no way that would happen. And it did. It absolutely did. So you got that part right.
Felix, I'm gonna have to find it, but I posted something. It was before you and I started talking regularly, and I don't think I had ever spoken to you before when I did this, but I posted one of my first deep dives was into how to build an orbital launch mount, and in the first image of this thread, I posted a picture of what the launch mount originally looked like, and then I cropped in, I superimposed your picture of the water tower, but I put the what did I do? How did I do it? I think I changed it to 50%, so it you could barely see it, and the logo was there. I was like, I hope Felix sees this, but I don't think he did. I'm gonna have to find it and send it to you one of these days.
That would be lovely. Is there any news on the second Mechazilla tower that they were supposed to build here?
Request denied. So that would require the expansion, and the Army Corps of Engineers has put a pause on it. And Thomas and I were talking about this offline, that we kind of think it's a little bit of gamesmanship and intelligent gamesmanship to say, let's not introduce new ideas and change in plans while we still have the programmatic environmental assessment by the Aviation Administration. That's the FAA, PEA for those tracking. And so I think that they were smart to pause on answering the Army Corps, which then the Army Corps just closed out the ticket, but they're ready to reopen it as soon as their SpaceX is ready to start answering the needed questions.
Well, plus it sounds like they were trying to do things in parallel for the PEA, and they thought they would be done by now. And they're not. So they have to wait for the PEA to give that documentation for the Army Corps as well. We do actually have a donation here for €5. I can't read the name. I think it's a little more German than I'm used to. But it's €5 and says Starship updates. So let's dive right in. Hi, Felix. I love your videos. It's like Grub aus Deutschland from, I can't pronounce that name.
If you'd want to read that out in German, it would be Kürbisschnitz, but it's not really a German word.
Okay.
But thank you very much.
So I was looking for I was trying to look for something in the background. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. I actually, so if you notice on the screen, they've started to dig a little trench that goes over to the well over here. But it's
Zach,
tough.
I can't see
Yeah.
your pointer.
Oh, I'm searching for something in the background, so I don't have my pointer on the screen. But this is the well with the trench right here. So, you know, I can't remember if this is the. Okay, so I think it's the gas well is here, and this one is the disposal well. It may be the other way around.
I think you're right.
Yeah. So a lot of people have been wondering, like, oh, does this have something to do with actually pulling hydrocarbons out of the ground? Probably not, given that this is the disposal well and not the actual gas well. But I may, like I said, need to confirm that. I think that's right. But yeah, still interesting developments. This is kind of one of those mystery areas for us right now where we really don't know what's going on. But every week they do something tiny. And this week they put that last tank over here and dug this little trench over to the disposal well. You know, in my opinion, that would actually make this a really good place to build a water treatment, like a large water treatment facility, because this right here could be holding tanks for your brine. So part of the process, if you guys remember, we talked about a few weeks ago that this is actually, well, what we believe to be a small water treatment facility. So it would be like a 4-stage filtration. I personally think it now looks like it's inactive because there used to be a pipe actually connecting to it, but it may be underground now. But you could see all the different stages of filtration before it makes its way to the actual water tank. But I believe that they may be trucking off all of the, I don't even know what you'd call it, gray water in this case. It may even be considered brown water. But you have basically brine as a byproduct of this process. So maybe they would want to temporarily store that and then only open up the well at certain times and pump all of it down at once instead of like constantly leaving the well open. And then you're keeping basically the earth isolated from surface by closing it. And so you need to probably store it up for a little bit and do all of it at one time instead of constantly dumping it down there. But yeah, we'll see what ends up happening with that. This is pure speculation at this point.
So, guys, what do you think they're ultimately going to end up doing here? Creating a giant methane production facility, or just enough to power the place?
Well, I think that the entire, I mean, I don't know what you think, Felix, but I mean, that entirely depends on whether or not they get approval to launch here.
Yes, definitely. But if they do get the approval, this is going to be massive, I'm pretty sure.
And I just double checked on the gas wells. Yes, the one to the south is an injection disposal. One in the north is the gas well. And I suspect it's just backup power. That's my suspicions. Like they've got this 13.1 megawatt generator system. So they have as backup or secondary power, they'll have that ability to use that gas themselves.
Right. And this is your generator system right here. And obviously your air separation plant right here. And it's crazy when you look at the site from like a long distance. I mean, the Sanchez site is about half the, almost 2/3 of the size of the entire build site. You know what I mean? So they have a ton of space over there. They're currently using most of it for just storing things. But if you actually got rid of all of this, you know, everything that's just back here that's not actually, you know, been used for anything yet, you would have quite the space for a very, very, very large power plant to put here. Obviously, some people do not want to see that here, but in my opinion, it's like you got power plants all over the world. It's just part of industry. You know, it's part of like industrial activities. You need power, so in my opinion, sourcing it locally makes the most sense. If you're going to produce it right here, I mean, it doesn't have to travel as far. Not like it really makes a huge difference how far it's traveling, but, you know, produce everything right here. They're trying to become vertically integrated. So I think that it only makes sense to do this.
Yeah, and the same thing would be happening down at the Cape, and Blue Origin does the same thing when they launch a methane fueled ship, and yeah, it's all the same. It's all going into the same air anyway.
That's a very good point. I think people forget that.
Yeah. And just talking as an engineer and being efficient, I believe that if I were doing this, I would have I would have an air separator plant and a liquid gas purification plant at the launch site.
Oh yeah.
So you could ship in a pipeline on the other side of Highway 4 where you run underground, just uncompressed natural gas, and then you liquefy it, purify it, and then get it ready to load up into the tanks and then into the Starship.
Right. One of the things I'm noticing that is new here, they have a very large amount of drainage set up now. So I believe these are culverts going underground with access holes above them. So you can see that.
Wrong,
Where's your
wrong picture.
mouse?
Okay.
Yeah.
That was going to happen at least at once today. Sorry, guys. So
Yeah, those. Yeah.
we
Yeah,
have
I can see it.
these manholes right here, and you can obviously see the ground that they've made look really nice exiting the facility as far as drainage goes. So you have, I'm guessing, culverts going underground traveling this direction, and you also have them going up this direction. So that's splitting in between the generator, the power plant, and the air separation plant. So they're just basically setting up drainage. It looks like it pretty much ends right here. And that's really important because as the weight of this area increases, they're going to constantly be pushing more and more water up out of the ground. So they need to have that drainage set up. And also just general storm drain. I mean, you don't want
I was about to say
massive puddles around all over the place in here.
we've all seen the pictures what that place looks like when it's been raining for a few days.
Yeah, and it's really crazy when you see it in person as well too. I'm actually going to switch back to this long distance view just to kind of explain to people when you come into Starbase, if it's raining, and this may not even be the best view to show this. Let's go even wider. So
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
when you come into Starbase, you can see that there's a body of water down here, and then there's a body of water over here. Well, I guess they wouldn't be considered body of water unless they actually have water in them, which they only do a certain percentage of the time, as you can see. But if there is a lot of water and it's like in the middle of a storm, it will cross the road in several locations. So you can kind of see it right here. It usually crosses right here. It crosses a little bit right here, and then there'll be a huge crossing right here. So I think it's funny when you approach the facility and it's raining like that, the facility tends to be like really dead because all the employees basically leave. And I don't know if that's a result of like, oh, we don't want to get stuck here and not have to be able to pass over this, just for safety issues, like telling people to go home. But it's actually one of the best times to show up down there.
Yeah, or lightning or storm. A lot of outside work has to end whenever it starts raining like that, just for safety concerns. But yeah, it's one of the normal things with rocket launch facilities is they're built on a coastline in a marshy area as far south as you can get. So it just happens all the time. If you're going to build a facility like this, it's usually in a place that floods a lot.
Yeah, and their drainage has improved pretty drastically. You can see here that they've actually completed that road construction that they were doing last week. So everything from here to the launch site is new. And they've also put drainage going all the way along the facility now. And I believe, so it comes all the way down and then it goes out down here.
By the way, this is all built by civil engineering, right? Civil engineers build the drainage, the streets, and all that, correct?
Yeah.
So if anybody was wondering what you needed to learn in order to come work here, that's a big part of it.
So real quick, I do actually have a couple of people to thank real quick. I've got Lunatic Martian, who's an RGV flight supporter, says, I liked a lot. We also have John John Klepperich is also just became an RGV early access member, as well as Damian Gabriel. So thank you to each of you for your contributions here.
So we need to talk about this wide bay. before we do that, I noticed that we have about 470 people in here, so thank you guys for joining us today. It is a lovely Saturday for Felix. It's Saturday evening, so thank you for spending your evening with us, Felix, and for everybody else, depending on what time of day it is for you guys. Happy or good morning, afternoon, and evening if you just joined us. And if you haven't hit that like button yet, please do. Let's get those likes caught up with the views. We appreciate you guys for being here, and as Felix mentioned earlier, those likes go a long way into just getting the word out and kind of, we want as many people to see this stuff as possible because really, our goal is to educate people. So it's easier to educate people when we know what people actually want to learn. And in my opinion, a lot of times when, especially right now, as Starbase is going through a period of, I guess it's a little bit slow in a way because, they don't have permission to actually launch yet. And so a lot of people kind of like lose interest and they forget about all the stuff that goes into the background that actually makes this happen. So I think that shows like this give people a chance to actually like learn more about like what it actually takes to like build a rocket facility instead of just only watching launches. So again, glad you guys are here and hopefully you guys appreciate all the information and yeah, I don't know.
I wanted to add a little note to that these RGV aerial flyover show. In the bottom right, you'll notice a little parking lot. That parking lot is jam packed. Every other parking lot that you go through is packed, and the side of the street is packed. Starbase is about at capacity. Everybody is there, they're working, and they have a full complement of crew out there. So they are not in hibernation mode, they're not waiting, they are churning along. I'm not sure exactly of everything they're doing, but they are doing it.
So, one of the things I wanted to point out right away, which we kind of talked about, well, I guess I mentioned it on Twitter. They have completed about a third of the roof, so you can see that they have the hole for the elevator right here, and they have a little bit of the middle section completed. You can see the bridge crane still for now underneath. And I actually have a really cool treat for you guys for this week. Thanks to Lolo-Matic and Too Legit to Quit on Twitter. I don't know if we're able to throw their Twitter handles up here somehow. I should have prepared for that. We'll probably put a link in the chat. But I wanted to show you guys. A few people messaged me. They were a little bit upset that I did this. But last night we were messing around on Twitter.
Whoa! Did somebody take that from inside?
Yeah, that was the. To me, the first time I saw this, I was like, "Whoa, is this a nighttime shot?" And that's exactly what it looks like. Basically, right here. I mean, it took me a while to get the actual perfect image because this is kind of hard to. This is what it looks like from when you're really zoomed out. So these guys did a really good job, and we got to get those Twitter handles in here.
Yeah, massive shout out to the two. I've been talking to them for weeks now, following along while building this model, and they're doing a great job. They're really doing a great job.
I'm sure the mods will take care of it. They'll figure it out, and they will get that link in the chat. Make sure you guys follow these guys because they're really good, and I'm really glad that we get to show these on here because this is an angle that we literally will potentially never see until Elon takes this exact same picture. So you can see.
Can't.
Yeah, he won't do it for a while. And I mean, I imagine we won't see it until it's fully completed at least. But you can see down here in the bottom corner that construction elevator, which is tucked in between the diagonal supports in the corners. And this is going to be. I can't imagine standing in here and just looking up at how tall this thing is. I mean, I feel like
the back of the building, those diagonals are going to go away. Those are temporary ones. The front, those are permanent ones. So they may actually be going away fairly soon, considering they've already got most of the top built.
The word that comes to mind is cavernous.
Huh. I just noticed the second elevator in there. Is that an elevator or is that just a stairway?
Yeah, it's another elevator. So right now they've got scaffolding in the real article. This one's got the elevator as a stand-in. Because that scaffolding is going to be really hard to model.
Hold on. They may have a point here. Is that okay? Is that an elevator? I know this is scaffolding, but is that an elevator rail?
No, that's
next to the
scaffolding.
scaffolding?
That's all scaffolding right there.
Are you sure,
I would-
Thomas? They look about the same.
Because that would imply that the elevator would be built onto the scaffolding, which would be a big no-no.
No. The scaffolding is just temporary,
Yeah.
so they can get up there. But the actual elevator, nah. Dang, I got my hopes up right there. Crushed my dreams.
Ooh, we got
Oh, no.
Leroy Hibbs just donated €10. Got a super sticker in there, as well as John Dopiker just donated $20 and says, "Thanks for everything. I look forward to y'all's show every week."
So, check this out. It gets better, guys.
And Lolomatico 3D and Too Legit to Quit 3D both are in the chat as well.
Yeah, these guys are really awesome. I don't have the, I bet you anything, because I know then they're going to start scrambling literally as soon as I say this. I don't have the image that they made last night, which showed what the layout of the wide bay with like the maximum amount of boosters you could put in here while on a transport stand. But from this image, you can see what it would look like from below. Obviously, you would never, see it from below, but just the amount of space that is taken up by a booster while on the transport stand with the SPMTs, this is amazing. We actually, I think they were able to fit, the maximum we fit was 8 boosters? Or 6. I think it was 6 boosters comfortably while on these transport stands. So, I don't know. We'll see if that actually ends up happening. I think 4 is like the magic number.
Yeah.
I'm going to be on the
think
lookout
so
for them
too.
to send me that picture because it's really good. Oh, what is this?
Hey,
Okay.
Zach,
Yeah.
we talked about it yesterday, but you also mentioned that the first time that the wide bay is going to be used is for Booster 7, right?
People don't like that. People don't like that opinion. The way I view it, looking at it from down here, as long as you cover up the middle, you don't have to worry about like screws or anything falling, any construction debris falling anymore after that. I don't know if it should be completely sealed up. I don't know if you really need to worry about concrete falling through it. I don't know if that's a thing, but in my opinion, as soon as this is covered up, at least all the way to the edge of the doorway, then you should be able to start putting boosters in here and at least use the bridge crane A. Wait, I think this is A. You should be able to start using crane A while the left side and the actual upper floor are being constructed.
Would be typical for SpaceX.
Yeah.
Use as soon as possible.
They
Yeah,
would definitely
totally
do
agreed.
that.
Yeah.
So this actually goes in the same line of questioning John T asked earlier. He asked, do you think that Booster 7 is only the test article and that Booster 8 will be the first to fly? So I'll give you that one first, Felix.
There are some aspects about Booster 7 that point towards it being a test article, and others point towards it not being a test article, but I would tend to Booster 7 flying. Maybe just because I want to see it fly so badly. But it'll also depend on the FAA, as everything depends on the FAA right now. Because if they don't approve at the end of this month, or at the end of next month, or in 3 or 4 or 5 months, I know I don't want to say it out loud, but it could be. And so what we've seen in the past is that if the FAA did not approve, SpaceX went on with other prototypes. They are not going to stop, in my opinion, because they would halt the whole process. If they would say Booster 7 is going to fly, they would stop their development process, essentially, setting Booster 7 aside, building other boosters that might be more advanced, but then you're kind of blocked. And we've seen them scrap perfectly fine test articles before. So I think it all comes down to the FAA approval. If the FAA does approve relatively soon, Booster 7 is going to fly. If it takes another half year, it's not going to fly.
And GB,
I
do you
think
think 7 is going to fly or not, in your opinion?
I do not. I would love to be wrong about that, but I don't think it will. And sorry, I just wanted to show you guys this really quick. I've been searching for the perfect comparison view. But yeah, to answer your question, I don't think it'll fly. I mean, it's the first of its kind. It's the first 33 engine booster. So I think that it's probably just a Pathfinder. But I wanted to show you guys this view just so you can compare what these two look like. So this is the rendered wide bay right here.
Look at those bridge cranes. They look
So
awesome.
Yeah,
beautiful.
dude, that looks amazing. Versus the real thing.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Speaking of the bridge cranes, PN What asks, do the bridge cranes need to be certified before they are used? Simple answer is yes. They'll use giant water bags.
We got one more.
The ball sacks.
Oh, nice.
so
I just loved it the last time they put it on Mechazilla. It was just ridiculous.
Completely.
I hope we see it when it happens this time. We'll have to be on the lookout for it. But
And by the way, they're not just certifying the cranes; they're certifying the building that holds the cranes as well. So
something's off about the rendering on the left. The cranes can actually go from one side of the building to the other. They have a gap right there on the left that doesn't exist in reality.
well,
Or is that just a shadow? I think that's it's a gap.
yeah, this beam I mentioned it last night. This beam isn't here either. So a lot of the welding that was seen inside of the wide bay while they were preparing for the bridge crane was actually, they had these beams that were installed into here, but they had to install whatever it is that bridges it.
And the top of it looks like a railroad track as well.
Yeah, they had to place that track on top, and they were welding these two beams together after they were both installed. So both bridge cranes should be able to cross all the way over.
I love the tandem lifts. That'll be awesome.
Small detail, but I mean, this is amazing. I just love, number one, the way this looks, because you get to see how much space there is in here in between. I guess the ceiling, or the max lift height, and the actual upper floor, which is kind of hard to see. The upper floor is up there. So in the high bay, you would be in the bar, and you would be in the high bay bar if you were looking at this same view. Versus now, the wide bay bar, if that's what they're gonna, I mean, it's not gonna be a bar, but it's completely on a separate floor. So there's just so much more space down here, which is really awesome. And there's one more thing about this that I've been wanting to get people's opinions on, and I'll ask. I guess I'll start with Felix. So I'm gonna have to lead into this a little bit. So be a little patient. Let's see. Let's get the right image first. So if you look at these down here, it's really hard to see what you're truly looking at. But this is actually, these sections are they start here, and this is the top of it. So you're looking at it sideways. Oh man, I'm just gonna have to let's look at one of these ones. Okay, it keeps skipping around on me. Sorry about that. And the crane in the way. That's awesome. So these pieces, it looks like they're like a waffle, but they're actually 4 pieces stacked on top of each other, and some of them are going vertical and others are going horizontal. But either way, they have supports in the middle of them. This is actually a good place to see right here what it actually looks like. So I'm pretty positive these are not for the roof. There are some that are for the roof, like this. This is clearly a roof one. But the spacing on these is a lot smaller. So in my opinion, these are going to go up, on the side, which is slightly disappointing because it would kind of lead me to think that we might be seeing, I guess they actually look similar to these in here. That we may see actual wall go all the way up to the top instead of glass. However, and this is where I kind of wanted your guys' opinion, there is a very, very famous launch control room that actually did have windows in it. And let's see if any of you guys can guess that first. Do you guys know of a launch control room that had windows in it?
One at the Cape for Saturn?
Obviously the one at the Cape. Yeah. There you go. And to stop you right there, if you do think that they are going to put a launch control up there, that's exactly what I think as well. So there you go.
I think this would be amazing. I mean, it's
Yeah,
obviously
totally,
these
absolutely
are
on your side.
different. These are a little bit different because they have like a truss support on them. But looking at it from the outside, you can see that just that grid pattern on the window frames. And I think this launch site was 3 miles away. Sorry, the mission control was 3 miles away from the launch site versus
Mile and a half.
a mile and a half that we would be seeing here. So just looking at the way this looks from the inside, man, to me, like, okay, so if you had these kind of bracings that I'm talking about, let's go back and look at them actually. So if you have these kind of bracings on it, then you're a lot more protected than the high bay is as far as you don't want the windows blowing out. So if you have an event that caused the windows in the high bay to blow out, ideally the ones in the wide bay wouldn't, because you have this structure behind them. I don't know. Or you can even put double pane. You could put a pane of window on the back side and one on the front side, so there's like an air gap in between. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really fingers crossed. I'll tell you right now, to me, it looks more likely that they would put solid paneling all the way up to the top, but I think there's still a chance.
I'm like I said, I haven't said this on an episode yet because it would be complete speculation, and I've done that in the past, but I do it less and less. But yeah, totally. I do think that there's going to be a launch control on top of White Bay.
So I'll throw a cold glass of water on there and say that it's got the explosive force of a small nuclear weapon, and I don't think a mile and a half is close enough that if you had a full stack blow up and maybe take out let's say a tank farm with it, that you would need the full 3 to 5 miles for that sort of situation. So I don't think I would be putting people up there. Now, a mile and a half away underground or in a bunkered building that's protected and not above ground, it might be a little bit safer. So I'll be on the cautious side of that one.
I'm going for offices myself.
How high how strong would the shock waves be to hit the White Bay? I totally don't know. Is there anybody out there, maybe in the chat, who could do the calculation? Because
I can tell you who knows this.
Oilsport?
Marcus House. Marcus House did an episode. This is his least favorite episode. Well, actually, it was my favorite episode.
Mine too.
The one where he talked about the explosive potential of the super heavy booster, and he hates that episode because he said it was his lowest performing because nobody wants to hear about how powerful this explosion could be if
big
it happens.
Bada boom.
Yeah,
but how enlighten us? What did you come up with?
Man, there was wild numbers, and I believe them. But the one of the, I don't remember the actual explosive potential, but I think the actual thermal energy produced by a super heavy booster with 33 engines was like enough to power 50 nuclear power plants at the same time.
Did you work on blast radiuses?
He did.
That would be the interesting thing. How much hits the construction site, the production site, when full stack blows up on the? I mean, it would have to be right on the pad or slightly above it, so it's max fuel. The biggest bada boom you can imagine. Well, how would the blast be? I'd be very interested.
Yeah, I'm going back to that
exactly.
wide view. Yeah.
There the potential's there because I know we talked about it before, but there's a possibility that it could even break some windows in South Padre Island, just because there's already been evaluations over there being done on that particular.
See, but those are normal windows. We're talking about
we're talking reinforced stuff. Exactly. Yeah.
So here's the thing: is the audience seems to like this conversation topic. I don't know what's wrong with us, but Jim Cavett says sends $2, and here's an extra thumb up. Cranky old man sent $10, and it's hats off to Mauricio for the boots on the ground. Great work, greatly appreciated. And earlier, Animal asked a question, donated $5, and says, "Do we know any upgrades between B7 and B8 that would indicate B8 be more advanced and flight worthy, or less likely to go boom?"
That's a tough
We don't.
one.
Yeah, it's a really tough one. I don't think there's much, if there is any, but there are some indications on Booster 7 showing that it could be a test article because there's tons of stuff still not done on it. Of course, you can always move it back into the wide bay, beautiful picture again, there you go, and fix it and do the stuff that's left. But there's, for example, the chines on the outside where they now put the COPVs inside, lined up on the side. They're clearly not done yet and stuff like that. So, but it could be fixed. You know, it could just be they'll have to get it back to the production side anyway because there are no there's obvious parts missing still that need the production side to be fixed. Like the engine section is just half there and stuff like that. But yeah.
So if anyone wants to calculate the explosion stuff, I just linked a proper scientific PDF that includes acoustics, overpressure, thermal, and add radius and add volume of a liquid oxygen methane combination. So
that would be really interesting to know. Yeah,
I know, right?
Ooh.
Like how bad would it
really
be?
I mean, it would also give us hard data to say, okay, so there is going to be a launch control center there or not, because if the blast is too crazy, there's not going to be a launch control there. But I really do think, I mean, at least they're going to do some office space or something up there. It does look like that. But then on the other hand, if you already have that large amount of office space up there with a lookout towards everything, what do you use it for? To me, it would be the perfect spot if the blast radius is not strong enough. So, of course, if it's too crazy to do it, they're not going to do it. But yeah, I would love to see a launch control up there.
Oh, that would be one sexy beast.
I'm gonna pause on this image for a little bit because I want to search for something. I want to show an image of what the bottom of the wide bay looks like, because it looks to me that they may be preparing to finish the floor. Let's go ahead and take a look at it.
Right.
So,
and by the way, I'm having a blast here right now. Thanks for having me. This is great. This is so much fun. I've been grinning at my screens here in front of me all the time since the stream started. So kudos to you guys for inviting me. This is really, really cool.
hey,
And thank you again for joining us. I know you've been busy. You're on a big time schedule here.
Very busy.
This isn't what I wanted. This one's too recent. I'm gonna have to go find another one.
So the good news, talking about the floor of wide bay, you're saying it looks like it might be getting finished here. The good news is they do have electrical in the bridge cranes. They have been moving them. So that part is done. Technically, all you need is a safety screen to be put up, just like they did with high bay. And you can go ahead and start using high bay to do stacking of boosters or starships or whatever you want. And it does bring up that other question about the tandem lift. You can do a tandem lift up to 300 metric tons because each crane is capable of doing 150 metric tons each.
So people ask me this question all the time, how I do all these like deep dive stuff. Like sometimes I'll see something and then I'll end up spending the whole night putting together an explanation about it. And luckily, thanks to Mauricio, I have like all of his pictures taken from all the way back to I think August of 2020. So it's really helpful when you're going back to look at these images. And this right here is actually what the wide bay floor looked like as they started construction. And as far as I know, they did not pour another layer of concrete in here. So what I'm seeing right now, you can see that. I mean, you can see this little lip on the inside edge. I know there's a concrete slab in here, but I'm pretty positive there's dirt on top of it because at one point this crane was crawling into the building to lift tower sections. So it wasn't a good idea to put the final floor in there, in my opinion. So as far as I've seen, they have not done that yet. But now, looking back at this image, it looks to me like those are massive rebar.
Yeah, they are. There's actually a ground shot of that. I don't know. They're huge. The thickness on those is kind of. I don't know if you can pull that up there.
Yeah, I'll grab it here.
So, to me, it looks like they probably will end up forming the rest of the floor, and we can't see the the actual floor in here very well. I mean, you can almost see it right here. You can see there's a lip. It probably drops down like a foot right here. This over this seam. So they're probably going to have to put rebar all over the place and then do that final concrete job on the inside, and hopefully wait a few weeks before they put a booster in there, I guess. That crushes something I said earlier, which was that it should be soon when we see it go in there. But now that I've seen that rebar out there, I'm going to retract my statement and say they got a little bit more work to do on the inside before they can put anything in there.
I got the rebar for you if you want to just view that from an angle where you're looking dead on pretty much to the rebar.
Rocket Prophet just sent a $10 super chat. Thank you very much for that. And he put out a challenge. Let's go for 420 likes. Let's count how many seconds we need to get that. Come on, guys.
Speaking of that, yeah, we got 550 people in here. Maybe I won't ask again if we hit 420, but we're only what, 25 away. So if you guys get us up to 420, we would greatly appreciate you guys. And again, thank you guys for being here. We really love that. Almost every time we do these shows, we build up this audience, and you guys stay here the entire time. So, at first when we started these, we thought maybe 3 hours was a little bit too long. But the fact that you guys stay in here all the time for the whole show lets us know that you guys appreciate this stuff and that we're right about perfect on that time. But
there we go.
Boom. We're almost there.
We already got it. There you go. Thank you, guys.
That was quick.
Awesome, you guys are the best.
You guys got really strong index fingers. So this is the rebar that Mauricio was talking about, looking at it from the ground. Definitely very, very long pieces. And yeah, there's really nowhere else around if you look. I'll just go back there, actually. There's not really anywhere else on the ground or nearby that would really need concrete anytime soon, in my opinion. So
it's really strong rebar.
Yeah, I mean, and it's right outside the entrance. It's got to be where it's going. So We'll see. But I think once it's 112 here, I know that some people really want us to get into. What do you guys think? Ring yard first, or do we go to the Star?
Oh, thank you, Rocket Prophet. $50 for 420 likes. Do I hear 500 likes? Is what Rocket Prophet says.
Keeps the challenge going.
What a booster.
So, Grandpa Joe, you're going to head off now? It's about the top of the hour.
Oh, yeah. Family. Fast, yeah. Yep. Family's waiting for me out in the car. Guys, y'all have happy holidays. And thank y'all so much for having me. And, commentators, the production staff, and the community, y'all really make my week. Y'all have a great one. Man.
If you guys haven't done so already, in the bottom right, or I guess it's very in the middle of the bottom of the screen, Grandpa Joe's Twitter handle is down there. Make sure you guys give him a follow on Twitter. Like I said, we always love to keep you guys updated on everything we're doing, so make sure you're following him so you can get early info on what it is we got going on.
Indeed. Thank you much, guys. Have a great one.
See you. So, ring yard, huh? Looking kind of bleak, in my opinion.
Well, it's actually better and worse. Ship 21's gone. No more Ship 21. Hooray! No more eyesore. And the bad news is now it looks a bit more bleak. There's less there. So, yeah, there's good news with some bad news.
So to sum it up, yay, Ship 21 is gone. And no, Ship 21 is gone.
In my opinion... So Sentinel Cam, Lab Padre Sentinel Cam is roughly, like at this angle, if you look at the high bay, it's literally like if you draw a line to Ship 21, it leads directly to the camera. And so Ship 21 has always been in the way of seeing things that are resting in front of the high bay waiting to go inside. So I personally am glad that it's gone. I know Mauser and a lot of the ring watchers, Sam and Ryer are all probably really excited that is gone, because it makes it so that you can see what's parked out front of the high bay a little bit better. And, I just noticed something for the first time that I didn't realize that this was a racetrack for the SPMTs. I mean, it's too perfect. It's got to be.
They've got a large turning radius. That's the problem.
That's perfect.
Exactly. Also, It could be that after they get rid of Ship 21, they might put Ship 20 there as well and block your view again.
Wow.
It's even worse.
Oh my god! I hope that doesn't happen. Man, there's a lot of people who are going to be sending you some hate mail, and I'm going to be leading the way if that happens. Oh,
James
man.
Wilson donated $10. Happy Easter, everyone.
Yeah, happy Easter to everybody out there. Hopefully you guys are with the families enjoying. And maybe you guys are showing your families Starship for the first time, so that'd be really cool as well. Getting your old folks learned up on the future of spaceflight. But one thing I was mentioning before, I think this is actually not a regular transport stand, so everything I was saying about using this for 24 makes no sense. But yeah, glad that this is gone. And it was like the day after you did this flyover too that they started getting rid of that.
It was in the afternoon, and by it was like noon they started, and like 2:00 it was done. They were fast.
Yeah, that was yesterday when they started doing that. I was out there from like about 7 a.m. to about 9:30 a.m. and it looked like they were gonna start, but for some reason then they kept on lifting the attachment, but they kept bringing it down. So yeah, they did it pretty late in the day.
So
I just want to. I'm reading the chat here. The United Rentals Starbase 500. It's a good one.
So I just want to let the all you guys in the audience know that we always listen to everything you guys suggest to us. So if you guys have anything that you would like for us to do to improve the quality of the show, let us know in the comments. Usually, actually, the comment section of the YouTube video instead of the chat is a better way to go because then we actually see it later. But yeah, I just want to let you guys know we've listened and we've tried to make it so that we're not like scrolling through as many pictures, but there is a lot of different areas around Starbase. So if you haven't been able to tell so far, we've actually started to divide pictures up between areas so that when we have to scroll through looking for stuff, we're not like ending all the way up at the north part of Star Factory when we're looking at this. And then, Thomas and I tend to get distracted when that happens. So hopefully you guys appreciate the pictures being a little bit more organized and by location. I think it makes things easier for us and probably easier for you guys as viewers as well, too. So
Alan Curtis said it's just become a RGV Early Access member, and see we have Infinite Space watching with us as well.
Infinite Space, thanks for joining us. I haven't seen him in a little bit. He's been busy. I've always if you guys aren't following him on Twitter, make sure you guys do that.
Quick, we've gotten quite a few members today, so I just want to explain the benefits of that. You get to download these images via Dropbox folder that we provide on the YouTube for members only. So if you want to follow along or you want to get the high resolution images and just go through them yourself, you could become a member as low as $1.99.
They are worth it.
Yeah, a little secret. Sometimes I go through the aerials, and then Felix's show will usually come out the day after, and occasionally I'll watch his shows, and I'm like, all right, hopefully he didn't notice this part because I'm not even going to mention it if he talked about it. So you guys get the advantage. You do your shows on Wednesday. Marcus does his comes out on Friday, so you guys always get to talk about everything before the show. So it's nice to finally have you on here, so you can do it with us.
Yeah, since we got Chief on the ground at Starbase, I've been bombarded with pictures from two sides. It's such a delight. Every morning I open up my cloud, and when Mauricio had another flyover, it's just like it's a ravine of pictures coming in. It's just great.
Oh yeah. So yours auto downloads it? I gotta get mine set up like that.
And Infinite Space just became an RGV flight supporter. Thank you for that.
There you go.
So one thing, there was quite a bit of ring shuffling going on this week. If you guys missed it, all the booster sections and all the ship sections basically exchanged locations. So in here we have Booster 8 Lux section.
That's the Common Dome on the right.
Yeah, the Booster 8 Common Dome. That'd be maybe actually 9. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. So 9, and then hold on. Let's get a look inside the high bay if we can. This is going to be a tough one. That's so dark, it's got to be Starship Belly, right?
That's a booster right there.
Hold on, let's see if we get another shot of that. Looking inside the high bay is one of the last things I do usually because I'm a stage 0 guy, and sorry to everybody who hates it when I say that. Mauser.
You
I
can see
guess
the stringers on the outside there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we got a booster section in there. The ship 24 is somewhere, I'm guessing, in this side. And then this would be booster 9 LOX tank then.
So
Let's
awesome.
go back to it. It's crazy. And then this is ship 24?
25.
Yeah.
No way.
No, I think
No,
24
that'd
is
be-
in there and 25 is in the high bay, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was in the high bay right
All right.
now.
All right.
Unless
Here
it made another beeline to mid
we
bay.
got some help.
Yeah,
So
we even have some of the ground pictures that Mauricio took that show 24 there in the mid bay.
I wish you guys could see our lives comp section because they're freaking out.
Max Q thing.
Max Q says the B8 LOX tank is in the right, on the right, and ship 24 is on the left in the mid bay.
Okay, so they did make
Max
some.
is definitely right. Yep.
Yeah, then B8 methane tank is in the back corner of the high bay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Max
guys.
Max also helps with the other Ring Watchers on the Y Plus episodes that we have on our second channel, and they are gold. If they say something, it's usually right.
Yeah, I usually default to the helpers when it comes to some of the vehicle stuff because it's not very easy to stay like up on all the changes that are happening with Stage 0 and the vehicles at the same time. So, got to have eyes in all areas. So I always appreciate people who are able to keep track of that stuff a little better than I am.
It's a team effort, right there.
It is always a team effort.
You know a few things better than anybody else, and they know a few things better than anybody else, and so on and so forth. And if you put everything together, you've got something like tonight. That's why I love this live stream. Really cool.
Yeah, it's fun to have guests. So if anybody out there who's watching thinks that you should be a guest, just hit us up. It may not always pan out, but we're trying to diversify the show a little bit. So I know I've talked to Ellie in Space, said she wanted to come. Jessica Kirsch was maybe going to stop by on an episode. So if we can ever get on the same time as Marcus House, probably show up as well too. It'd be cool to have both of you guys on the same episode as well. So
oh yeah, love that.
More than welcome to come back anytime.
I am the first. You can never take that away from me.
For sure. Let's go to the back to the Star Factory.
We're closing in on 500 likes, by the way. Thank you so much, people. This is really cool.
Star Factory. So we talked about this briefly at the beginning of the episode. And now is a great time if we have those ground images showing the posts that they have started setting up for the wide bay. If Thomas, if you could throw those in there.
Yeah, I'm grabbing those right now.
Cool. So if you guys can see that they started laying out the structural beams for the Star Factory, and they are organized in a way that we cannot even possibly guess what this thing is going to look like. There's a lot of
here's the first one for. It's not the one that you're talking about directly, but it gets the idea of something off is going on here. So those beams don't exactly stay level throughout the duration of the length. You can notice that there. It gets really apparent in another photo here. I'm going to try to grab here.
It's like a mini wall. Like a.
Oh, we don't see what you're looking at on your screen.
Oh, whoops.
That's better.
Allergies. So yeah, you can see this little shorter wall that's coming up here right now. I think that they're. Sorry, I'm looking through these images as well too, trying to find the other.
The
ground
next
shots.
one here. I got that, so I'll pull it up.
Perfect.
Yeah, so this really demonstrates there's something going on. So you can see those little tabs, they are in line with each other, perfectly in line,
Holy
but
crap.
the tops nowhere near close.
Well, they at least these 6 right here slope down pretty evenly as far as probably how like in relation to how far away they are.
Still though.
Yeah, that's
Can you show it? Yeah, nah, you can't.
super confusing.
Mauricio's flyover was on the 13th, so you can't show a picture from above. That would really help right now.
Yeah, we're gonna need you to get back up there, Mauricio.
Yeah, come on. Guys, like, can you do this live?
Hey, just live up there. I mean, that would be nice.
RGB sat.
Don't you have your bedroom in that plane anyway? So just hold the camera out the window right now, please.
Where did he go? Is he still here with us?
Oh yeah, I wish. Actually, this flyover on the 13th wasn't even supposed to happen, but just because of the weather situation. But we kind of took a chance. Don't really want to put it that way, but it worked out. So
It was definitely worth it. Yeah.
So, sorry, I'm closing out of a few images because I feel my computer's slowing down. I got so many things open in the background. There we go. All right. So, returning to the Star Factory. I'm guessing, Mauricio, were those posts that we were looking at, were they set up on the left side over here?
at the bottom of the screen, they're laid out.
These.
Oh yeah, there. Yeah. Evenly. Oh no, they're not.
Yeah,
Some
you
are
can see there. Some of them are
longer,
short.
some are shorter. Yeah.
So this is this building, we figured out what kind of building it is. It's just a butler building. Here's an example for you, GB, if you want to show it. That is a butler building, but this one, it could actually be very similar, as it might have multiple planes of roof height. So this building has some different planes of roof. Actually, not this one. Whoops. There's actually, yeah, this one does. Yeah. So if you look at the left side, there are different heights of the roof planes. It could be something similar to this, but anyways, it's going to be a lot bigger than this. This building is small in comparison.
Yeah, this really maximizes floor space as far as having these really small posts in the middle.
Yeah, but those posts, we have them over, let's say, about 9.5, 10 meters away from each other. So,
if you look at the foundation again, there's a piece in the foundation missing in the middle. Couldn't that be for a post or something?
there's actually going to be a lot of posts. You can zoom out just a little bit. You can see those white dots. Those are the foundation columns. So those are basically what hold up the building.
Yeah, but what I meant was, if you go a little bit further up, there's this hole in the middle.
Where the transformer is at.
Yeah.
I think it's just all about power on that one. It's just in the wrong place, or will hopefully not be in the wrong place. There's another angle of this where if you zoom out, you can actually see down the aisles of this building. Oh, that was perfect. The last one there. So this way, yeah, perfect. So you can see down the aisles, and the actual widths are a bit different. So it's really 3 main aisles and 2 narrower aisles, so that you can actually put the rings down the center, and then all of your equipment is in between all of this stuff, like the ring.
Keen observation. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, this would be helpful if I had a annotation tool. I'll work on that next week. We'll start being able to draw on these pictures so we can kind of show what we're talking about a little bit more. Kind of help you guys out if you're not able to visualize some of it.
Couldn't it also be then that the roof is made so that where the ring sections are, the roof is higher, and then it goes lower, and it goes higher, and it goes lower, and it goes higher again? So like a wave, basically.
Typically, it would be the highest would be in the center, and then it would work its way down. So like the center would be most likely for nose cone sections and whatnot. They have to have specifically one that is the height of the current tent to the left of it. So that is around 60 feet in height-ish. They need something similar in height in order to lift up the entire nose cone section and actually get it off the jig that it sits on, because they use that stretch form system with the robotic welders. And being able to have a bit higher tent would allow them to be able to put on that last section as well. They need a new jig, but I don't think they're going to go for that direction. I wish they would. So it'd be about as tall as low bay or that windbreak they've got there to the bottom left. So unfortunately, they're probably going to go about the same height as these tents, I think.
Yeah, hard to tell. Yeah. It's very interesting, though.
I think every view that I have after this may all be of the same area. I just want to check down here and make sure I didn't miss anything new in this random pile of junk they got going on down here.
I think that's just the junk pile.
Yeah.
And that's the restrooms.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you guys ever make it in there on tour, you gotta stop. There's the place to go. I think we can probably move over to the ground fabrication area of the build site. So, yeah, from this angle, you guys can see pretty much the northern end of the build site. You have the ground fabrication building over here where they make all of their ring stands and stuff, and all of their basically tooling is made in this building. I'm not really sure what's in this one. Thomas, do you remember? Is it basically, I'm guessing maybe fabrication for all of the internal piping of the boosters and ships?
Yeah, so everything that seems to be on this is pipes, cleaning the pipes, welding the pipes. That seems to be mostly what this part of the production facility does. I haven't really seen too much more. And we've got those crazy looking boxes just right below your mouse.
Let me see if I can find a better angle of those. It shouldn't be too far away.
Yeah, those are pretty brand new. I think as of yesterday, those came in. At first, we're like, those look like they would fit inside of a Amazon or FedEx plane, and they're a similar shape to that. But the main part is they've got vents, so it looks like they're meant to be for, let's say, chemical or 3D printing or something. But we don't see exactly how they open because they don't seem to open in the front. And we've got some donations and a question here that we need to go back to. 55 Chevy Guy Steve asked back to an old question with respect to a lighter starship. Does Raptor 2 diminish the need, and what happened to the 3.6 millimeter nose cone barrel section? Lots of questions in one there. Thank you for that donation, Steve.
Okay, number one, we're going to start backwards at the last question. I thought that we determined that all of the ring sections were 3.6 millimeters.
For the barrel section, yeah. I think they've moved to 3.6 because it's lighter, but they've already got the stringers to support it vertically, and that's what matters there. So then Raptor 2 diminish the need for a lighter starship? No, it doesn't. It just means that we're going to get the 150 metric tons with a lighter starship that we need. So that's the main goal. So right now they're hitting about 230 metric tons of thrust per version 2 Raptor. 250 is the goal, and that is the main area that they have the sweet spot where it's like 150 metric tons capacity of cargo capacity, really.
Would be crazy if they'd actually pull that off.
And Jim Cabot donated $1, and then Rocket Profit donated $25 for 500 likes. Thank you, man. Again, man. That's awesome.
So there was one thing I wanted to touch on that we may have missed earlier, and I actually want to go back and look at it first to see if we can see it. Let me grab this image really quick.
So what are we talking about here?
Well, this is Booster 5's transport stand. And as you can see down here, sorry, we're back at the Sanchez site. If you guys can't tell, this is the Rocket Garden. And this transport stand has been getting some work done to it for a while.
I got an image for ground on that one.
Oh, I got it. We're good to go.
Okay.
I think this has been very interesting to me for like a while now, wondering if they're actually going to do anything with this. So let's just pop this one up really quick. We got a shot from the ground from Mauricio. You guys can see they actually done this on Booster 4's transport stand as well, I believe. They've started setting up, these are basically permanent walkways. So if you guys have ever seen when they're about to lift the booster off, or they're putting it back on the launch mount, or sorry, the transport stand, they have to like climb up on here, then walk down onto the next one, and it's like basically what's that show called? The something ninja. You know what I'm talking about? Help me out, Thomas.
Takeshi's Castle.
But basically, you get a pretty good workout climbing up and down these things. They're about 2 feet tall, so 2 or 3 feet tall. So it's not easy to like climb up and down these when you're trying to check all 20 of these booster clamps. So I'm pretty positive that this is a walkway that they're installing that will allow them to, not have to climb all over them, and then they could just be able to move over to the edge of it and reach down to do whatever they need, or even sit on top of it.
Max Q for the win. Ninja Warrior.
Ninja Warrior, thank you. You guys don't watch that?
No, I haven't watched it in years. Pull up the picture I posted in the chat.
Is this a permanent ladder being installed?
Yeah, that's a permanent ladder. But the interesting element to this is if you pull up the image I posted and zoom in a little bit on the sides there, they have really changed the dynamics of this. So the those structures are way overkill for a safety line. So yes, a safety line goes in there right now. It's really low. It's way overkill, and the base shows that as well. So they're planning on putting something additional with this. So maybe some sort of scaffolding structure that goes up higher, so they have access to the quick disconnect or something along those lines.
I'm thinking handrails.
Perhaps, but that would be way overkill. So this is the type of support that you could support building off of. That's how thick those are. So yeah, they're not light material, not just for handrails or something kind of wimpy. It's for something a bit more. I would love to see from the top. If you go back to the aerial shot, do we have a view of those little pieces to kind of indicate if there's a hole at the top of it or not?
Let's see here.
Oh, I don't see it. It's all in the shade.
Yeah, I may have to grab another angle of it. Yeah, that's tough to see.
Yep, I can't see it either. It's just too high up and too far away with a little bit of haze between. Ooh. It looks like there is a hole. I can see it pretty clearly on this one.
Where?
So just right to your left of your mouse, you see the line going to the right. Just right, and then down, and down right there. Yes, you've got those two lines, the safety lines right there. You've got two holes right where the posts are at. So I think it does have a hole that allows something to just slip inside, and you can put another structure right on top. So you don't have to do all sorts of interesting things. You just put in a pipe, square tubing pipe that fits in there.
I can't wait to see the evolution of these transport stands. I mean, they're already massive. Now they're getting even bigger. And they'll throw those QDs on them here soon as well too, which will just make them even larger.
I don't know if they're going to go to the QDs. The flex hoses are actually faster to hook up than the QD structure, which seems like it could take a lot longer if it goes wrong. Where a flex hose line, it's going to go right every single time, as long as you have like the gaskets sealed and that kind of thing. But even then, it's just a temporary structure that you use to move down the road and to hold it in place as far as pressure goes on like the compressor up above to the right. That's all that's really necessary. And that having that structure there that they can stand on and the scaffolds, and if it's going to be a second layer scaffold as well, it allows them to do everything that they need on that structure.
I just got distracted by a picture. I just noticed something. I don't even know if I want to show this one really. I probably skip over that actually. Let's go back to the Star Factory. Or actually, sorry, we were at the ground fabrication building, weren't we? So, we have that new flat dome that we saw this week. The other one has been scrapped. I actually didn't notice that anywhere when I was looking around.
Yeah, this is number 3.
Yeah, and so kind of nice seeing them crank those out so quickly. And I've noticed some other really interesting parts that are laying outside, which a lot of people will hopefully find interesting. These right here would be engine covers for booster 8 or 7, whichever booster. I'm guessing these are slightly different than the ones we've seen before. They actually look like they have some extra bracing installed on them, maybe to stop them from wobbling so much or something. I don't know. They definitely probably added some weight to that, though. But
It's going to take a lot
nice.
of force going up. So, yeah, they need that brace in the back.
These look less curved and more like it looks like a solid seam right here. Instead
What was that, Felix?
Like they were before.
Yeah, as a fun fact, at Starbase, they call them cocktail shakers.
I love that.
Yep.
So do you guys think these look like they're? I don't know. I don't know if I'm probably not gonna be able to pull up an image of the old ones. I don't know. These look a little bit cleaner to me, which we should expect on this next version.
Oh, every version you go from one to the next, it always is better. Oh, we have got the so earlier we were talking about that new flatter dome. That's what that goes on. Those stretch forms, they come in on that.
Really?
Yep. So they come in on those triangle pieces, and one side is wider than the other, and it comes to a point, but it's all conformed to what those pieces are. Now the shape is very simple. It just needs to be a transport stand, essentially, from wherever they're making the stretch form pieces.
Yeah, Chief has taken some beautiful pictures of them coming in at one point.
Oh, I've been looking at his pictures. They are amazing.
Yeah, if we have a shot, we can show that. If somebody finds one, I was looking at some background stuff again, trying to find some other ground images. But we always talk about this area. If you guys watch our shows, you know that I'm pretty much obsessed with this area. Oh, wow, they're building a canopy on top of this.
It has a good reason why you're obsessed with this area. That's one of the most interesting places on the whole, whole production site. All those little pieces.
There's always like everything for the launch mount ends up getting brought here. So like when I see like sheets of steel like this, I'm like, okay, what are they building for the launch mount next? Because usually they'll cut these and they'll form other things out of them. Obviously, the protections that they put around the edges of the launch table. Let's actually just go take a look at it really quickly. So on the edge of the launch mount, oh, hold on. You can see these covers right here that they started installing, and we already can pretty much tell. Let's get another angle. That they have this bracket going across it now, so they're definitely going to put a plate over at least this part. And we've kind of been wondering whether they'll go all the way up to the top or not, and I'm really, really hoping they do.
Because they will.
Yeah,
if you left it open like that, it would grab it and destroy things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that being said, those pieces that we're seeing in that ground fabrication area, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up on the launch mount at some point.
So a little bit, go back to that previous image again real quick. They put in those new green pipes. We got a really good picture showing the dimensions of the pipe itself. It is a 6-inch pipe that are the green ones. And they are probably about 1.5 inches thick. They are massive as far as those pipes go.
High pressure water pipes?
No, I don't think it's just water. Because, I mean, 1.5 inches thick pipe, as far as the thickness of the pipe, that is beyond insane as far as either water pressure or gases. So whatever is going through there, it is quite high pressure, but it is something that I can't quite fathom what they would be doing with that, because it looks like it could be water, could be anything fluid, essentially, even gases, but fluids would more likely be that category.
I'm searching through the ground shots to see if Mauricio got any angles from pictures from that angle.
It should be pretty easy to find out what goes through those pipes if you look at earlier pictures from Mauricio, right?
Well, this pipe was actually added. It was one of the last ones added, and it comes up to the back of the bunker, and it actually, I think, comes up somewhere in between these two, and then it goes into the bunker. So this one right here was actually recently just added as well too. It was added right before it, the green one, and that one. Oops.
Oh, these pipes, they're stainless steel. All of them. The green ones and that one that is obviously a stainless steel pipe, they're all stainless steel.
I'm going to a better image of the tank farm so that we can hopefully sorry, give me a second. I'm trying to find the right angle of this.
Neil was just writing that it could be engine startup gas. So gaseous methane and...
I'm going to have to disagree on that one. Because of where it ends up at, wow, this is crazy. So one of the pipes that they added, you can see right here that it comes up, and then it actually goes up onto the roof, and it has this huge manifold right here, and I believe it connects to this canister right here. All these canisters. This is the high pressure LOX.
Oh, it's LOX, helium, methane, oxygen.
Well,
everything that's got a gas version of it, liquid or gas, they have it here. So yeah, helium for sure.
Helium. This is LOX. Sorry, this is gaseous oxygen. This is methane, and this one right here. These two are nitrogen. So I actually didn't realize for the longest time that this wasn't even set up. So I believe that when they were doing, which makes sense, when they did all of the spin-up tests using the launch mount, they were using the nitrogen tanks only, and they were running nitrogen gas through all 6 of the Raptor QD ports instead of what actually goes through that. So none of these have actually been tested yet. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to pump high-pressure methane through those. It would probably explode.
They did actually have some startups where they basically did not the pre-burner, but the like igniter system. So it was like turning on a barbecue grill, and they lit up all of the 13 or maybe all 29 engines on booster 4 at least 2 or 3 times. And by the way, I've also got the pictures that you were trying to look for in live comms here that are the ground shots of those particular pipes.
I'll show those really quick, and then I will also bring those up. So before I show those, so you can see that they go into here, into that LOX canisters, and then they come down into the building, and I think they go right back out because you have these vaporizers right here, and these would basically be part of the startup process for the tank farm. Like one of the very first things that happens is all of these gas canisters get filled. So your liquid oxygen, it's going to have a small amount of liquid oxygen go into this vaporizer right here and fill these tanks up with gaseous oxygen at, I think, 300 bar is what the thing said. I have to pick up some old images that I have to show you guys the actual pressure rating that they have for that. But yeah, to me, that's what this is you pump your liquid oxygen through here, turns it into gas, and you store it in here. And this is part of your engine startup. So that means that the one that they installed here would be gaseous oxygen. But let's look at that ground image from that Thomas provided. Oops.
Yeah, these are Mauricio's photos, of course. This is from last week. So on the about 10 days ago. Actually, no. Is that 10 days? I can't remember now.
So there's 2 separate pipes here that can be easily confused. The one that's coming out of the wall here was here for a long time, and this is what I kind of assumed would be the Raptor chill exhaust. So like when you're venting out the Raptor chill from the outer 20 engines, instead of letting it flow over the side of the table, you actually pipe it out of the table and to another area where you don't care about a massive gas cloud being. So this would be that exhaust port, and there's another one on the other side. And so this is the stainless steel one that is unpainted, and it looks like they haven't finished connecting the other one, because you can see this pipe right here, which I'm guessing is the same as the green one, which they're still installing.
So if you look to on one of the images, I believe it's to the left, is really where you can see those green pipes extremely well on the ground. Yeah, it's still massive question of what those pipes are going for here. So I think it's actually would be to the right.
This image?
Oh no, those aren't the pipes. Those are just.
I was just
not any of those
uploaded in there.
Yeah, it was that first one that really had the pipes, I think. Oh no, it didn't. It was just that one green pipe you could see. Sorry about that. I was looking at the right area, but it was more to the left.
Oh, you know what? I just realized something really important that I have to mention. Because I don't know if Senti's in the chat, but he was really, really upset about something that I mentioned last week about the QD arm. So it is actually looking like not good news. I forgot to mention this earlier. At the Sanchez site is one of the arms for the SQD arm, and that picture of where we were just looking at reminded me of it, because that's where it was initially laying at, was on the ground right there. But now the left arm is in the Sanchez lot, just in the dirt, which is really unfortunate. I don't know if that means they're building another one or what. Might have to eat some crow on that one, but that's okay. But
Touching how well dirt works with steel, I think that won't end well.
Yeah, I mean, oops, sorry, I accidentally switched right there. Yeah, it was initially laying right over here. The other one is still over there. I guess I actually probably need to go to the launch pad in order to see that one. Sorry about that, guys.
Let me interrupt you here real quick. I can hear my wife get the kids to bed. I think I'll have to go now.
All right, thank you so much, Felix, for your time here today.
Yeah,
it's been an absolute honor.
Everybody in the chat, give Felix a big thanks for joining us. And if you guys haven't liked the stream already, please do. Also, Felix, your episodes come out every Wednesday, correct?
Tuesdays and Fridays.
Tuesdays and Fridays. I see them on Wednesday. Okay. So every Tuesday and Friday, Felix's videos come out. I think the Tuesdays are your normal ones, and the Fridays are the what are they called? I'm sorry.
Deep dives. It alternates. It's whenever I have an idea for a deep dive, I'll do one, and so there's no certain order there.
Well, they're always great videos every single week, and I'm always looking forward to them when they come out. And like I said, we really appreciate you being here, and hopefully you can join us again. And I hope everybody else enjoyed you being here as well.
And make sure to go ahead and go to What About It on YouTube and like and subscribe to his videos. Also go to Twitter. Felix Schlang is what you'll find on Twitter for your address, as well as Kevin Randolph, who has some amazing photography that he gets for Felix here. He's at Cosmic Chief, and I've got those in the chat there for you to go through and easily jump into Twitter and basically subscribe to those. Or is it subscribe? I don't use Twitter. Follow. On Twitter.
Yeah, it's Cosmical Chief, almost.
Cosmical? Oh my gosh, this entire time I've been reading it wrong.
You know why I know that? Because I did it wrong on my first tweet I did about him. I said Cosmic Chief, and then somebody else got like 250 mentions out of that tweet. So there you go. Yeah, it was a pleasure being here tonight. It's amazing to talk to you about all this, and I'm definitely going to be back. This is really, really cool. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Felix.
Thank you, Felix. And before you go, just wanted to let you know that I appreciate everything you do. Thank you for the support for all these. I think we're almost going to about 2, maybe 3 years of patronage. So I really appreciate that. And I'll look forward to bringing you along on the next flyover when you're down here.
I can't wait for that. All right.
And
thank
good
you very,
luck
very
on
much.
that big move, Felix.
Yeah, there's a busy time ahead, that's for sure. This is another 9 days until we move, and Tuesday is going to be the last episode here in Germany. And It's crazy.
So we'll have you back in what, 2 weeks then? No, you're going to be busy for quite a while here. So thank you so much
actually,
again.
I'm planning to do my next episode somewhere in the beginning of May because I'll be at Starbase, hopefully doing the flyover with Mauricio as well, and so on and so forth. And I'm planning on recording an episode down there. It would be the first time, and it's probably going to be huge amounts of fun. So,
Oh, nice.
yes.
That's why we should definitely subscribe. So when he puts that stuff out there, you want to be there for it. Thank you again, Felix.
Thank you so much. Bye.
See you guys. Well, actually, I almost signed off, thinking I was leaving too.
not quite there yet. We're
All right,
about
see you
2 hours
guys.
in.
Log off. I would have ended the whole stream. So I got a secret for you guys that I don't know if a lot of you knew. Thomas actually really doesn't like Twitter that much, but I want Thomas to get forced to use Twitter more. So if you guys haven't followed Thomas on Twitter, he only has 183 followers right now, but there are 530 of you in here. I think if we get at least 50 followers for Thomas, then he might actually start using Twitter, and we'll see if that happens. Starting at 183, his Twitter handle's right there on the bottom. But it's we're entering our number. Or our third hour of the show. So with that being said, let's continue on. We were talking about the launch mount, kind of. Did we skip over stuff? Oh,
we just skipped over stuff, but it's always good. We can always focus on things, and that's good.
No, we got to go back. I just don't want to skip the BFC area because there's always fun things happening over there. So let's go ahead and go back to the BFC storage area. And one of the very first things I noticed today when I looked at this is we got room for activities now.
They've had that for kind of a while now, or variations of it.
I think it's
like
changed.
It used to be kayaks, and then they had an area that was basically this, but without the nice sand inside. It was just grass or ground as it was, just a little like badminton court or something. And now it's a little bit more official.
Yeah, I want to see if I can find a picture of just last week because I just honestly didn't notice that.
Well, it's got some new parts to it. They've added the border, but you could see it last week how they had essentially got the area started up as a legitimate area. But it's like this is where I believe it's recreation for the workers. So you've got like yoga mats and kayaks, a little picnic bench, and just a nice little area for them to relax. And I think it's probably more like the executives or higher level, or maybe it's by a ticket system. So however it works, it looks like it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've been back in this area one time. I actually came just right back here. They don't have a trespassing sign. Again, I'm not going to say go back here because you probably shouldn't. But everywhere that they don't want you to be has a trespassing sign. So they probably have one now, or they'll be setting one up tomorrow, thanks to me. And funny enough, sucks that he left. Felix came back here too. I haven't told this story before yet. I went back here with Starship Gazer on my second trip to Starbase. It was like October 2021 for Crow Fest. And while I was there, Starship Gazer and I back here, I walked back there. I'm not gonna make him complicit in my actions. It was all me, guys. So they had both of the MK1 forward flaps.
Yeah, that's a forward one. Yeah, it's got that weird angle at the very bottom. So that's a forward one.
I took some pictures of it and I posted it on Twitter, and I was trying to get Elon to put these up for auction, which is funny because somebody else had more success in doing that later, but I'm going to go ahead and claim credit for starting that. I posted that picture, and then Felix DM'd me like an hour after I posted the picture, and he's like, I think somebody else already owns that. And it was a picture of somebody standing in or around it. Actually, it was on top of it. The picture's public, so I'll just go ahead and say it. It was somebody standing on top of the flap, and he's like, yeah, somebody already beat you to it. And I was like, wow, you just been saving up that picture? And he's like, oh, I wasn't going to post it, but since you did. I may have to retweet that and bring it back up at some point. But yeah, we were trying to get these up for auction, but it did not work.
Yeah, you usually have to talk to the owner first, and then they get their approval. Then you get the auction stuff and find have a good cause to do with it too. Like some really nice charities out there.
Yeah.
They would definitely be able to accept something like that. Well, they are really building out the BFC shed area.
Yeah,
so this is another Butler building, is what those are called, the way that's built. Wow, that is fast.
Getting some practice in before they build the Star Factory, I guess.
Sounds like it. Maybe they could park some SPMTs or something in there. That's a very big garage, but it's not big enough.
No, probably not. I mean, I think now that this is fully paved over, they have a nice area to keep their SPMTs at, and they'll stay relatively clean now instead of driving them over dirt all the time. This is starting to look really good for their little parking lot area. I think we have. Before I continue, actually, Thomas, we haven't checked on any questions. Have we gotten any new questions?
We've got one from Joshua Braun. Asks, how do you expect them to lift the lightning rod to the top of the tower since they don't have a tall enough crane? So there's a FAA document says that they're going to have a 10-foot rod on top of the tower. So far, we haven't seen the rod, but it doesn't have to be anything very heavy. It just needs to be 10 feet tall and probably insulated on the outside of the rod, similar to what they have at 39A. That's something you can do by hand. So it's just a 10-foot, 1 inch thick rod would be good enough with a bit of insulation, and you have enough of a lightning rod there to be mounted on top. There's nothing really too special about that.
So I don't know what our record is as far as likes during the stream, but we're approaching 600. That's more people than we have in here. But if anybody hasn't hit that like button, you could help us get to that in-stream
690 maybe.
If we just hit 625 more likes, that'll be, I think, a record for us. So thank you guys, and it's nice that the audience pretty much grows every week, even if things slow down to Starbase. So I think you guys are the real Starbase fans, or Starship addicts, I like to say. And we always appreciate you guys being here, especially on a weekend when you could be out enjoying the start of spring. Hopefully I didn't remind you that there's the sun out right now.
5Max has a question. Does SpaceX have a special deal with United Rentals? And I would say kind of, yeah. They do have something going on with United Rentals as far as they rent from them. They use them everywhere. There's other rental companies they use for other big equipment. But for all of the small equipment, so their boom lifts, scissor lifts, you may name it, they use the United Rentals equipment down there in Brownsville. I don't know specifically why, but maybe it's just they have a closer relationship with them. Otherwise, no clue.
I realize I skipped over something completely earlier, so I'm going to go back to it really quick. If I could find the right image. It's a parking lot. Oh, I guess this will have to do.
So we're looking at the... okay, so this is...
Yeah, this is the receiving area. So they had recently repaved this road. Which road is this again? This is
San Martin.
Yes, okay.
So this is the old San Martin Trail. That's why if you go off, continue straight off into the mudflats, there's a continued trail out there. So that's something where you can actually go through and hike the San Martin Trail. It's into the mudflats. The mudflats are U.S. government land. You don't want to go too far to the right because then you go into actual properties over there in the mudflats. But everything to the left is, so right there you can see straight across from the road, continue off to the right, it goes to the San Martin Trail. That's not the San Martin Trail. To the right into the mudflats is.
Oh.
So just go straight to the right.
The mudflats?
Right there. Right to the right. As far as you can go. You can see that line right there. That's the trail in the mudflats. So that's the San Martin Trail.
Anybody down for a hike?
Well, that's actually the route I take to get the shots from the north side of the build site, from the ground.
Yeah, that's amazing. But I've been back there. it took me probably 2.5 hours to trudge through all of that mud. It was dry, but it was still muddy. It was quite a thing, and you had to have mud boots in order to do it. I was wearing a nice white hoodie at the time. Didn't get any mud on it, but luckily the mosquitoes didn't bother me. I was pretty lucky that day.
So I found the image I was looking for. I think this might show it properly. We actually have switch it back.
We got you $25 from Rocket Profit for 600 likes. Let's see if we can get it up to 80 more likes. Or actually, yeah, it's at 611 right now, so 690 is the perfect number there.
So I noticed that they were building or digging more lines for the electrical conduit, and it looks to me like all of this is actually meant for the solar. So a few weeks ago, they dug the same trenches going all the way over to the Star Factory. So it basically like came out of the building and follows this gray path, and then it cuts through here. Sorry, I'm scrolling so fast. And it comes out of the ground and joins into here. I believe there may be more of these nearby. Half of them split off and go to the left where all the other solar panels are, and then these ones come right here. So I have a feeling that all of the these solar panels and pretty much this entire row right here, all of that runs down to here and then gets distributed to the facility. So looking at the BFC area, let me switch over to there. You have, okay, that's not going to do it. Actually, I need both of those images. So it comes out of this parking lot and it goes across the street. That's why they repaved the entire street. And then it runs right along here and currently ends right here. So I think they may have a little bit more expansion to do on that, but the closest thing over there that actually makes sense is this solar farm. So I don't know if they're... I thought that this solar farm was already feeding the main site, but if it wasn't, I don't know what it was feeding power to other than just the ground station.
Well, they're connecting all the different power sources together so that they have a grid. Yeah, so they've got solar, they've got their electrical coming from the 13.1 megawatt gas generators, and then they have the Magic Valley Energy LLC. They've got their high tension power lines that are underground. So they're not the tension lines at that point, but yeah, they've got the high voltage lines going through to this entire build site and launch site. So they have that fully energized every possible direction. They've got some more donations here from one from John Dopecker is $5. He said, "I'm outside making a model of a thermal tile while the one is still playing astronaut in her little one is playing the astronaut in her treehouse. Got y'all mirrored on the TV. Thanks for that, John." And Jim Cabot, $2, says, "How to get a night in an Airstream camper. First, you have to rent one from somewhere else, and then you have to find a property owner nearby to let you stay here." That's about how you do it, Jim.
All right, Thomas, we're really close to getting you to 200 followers on Twitter. What's your threshold for becoming Twitter active? 300?
Somebody has to teach me a bit on how to use it properly.
I will have class on Monday.
All right, sounds good.
Shout out to everybody who just followed Thomas on Twitter. You guys are great. He's almost at 200. If you haven't done it yet, make sure you give Thomas a follow. And also, you could shoot me a follow as well too. I go by CSI Starbase. It's down there in the at the bottom of the screen. And those are actually all of our guests' Twitter handles, and of course Mauricio himself. If you guys aren't following him, then I don't know how you ended up here, but I would love a DM to figure out what led you here so we can do some research on marketing. But yeah, so I think we can go back to the launch site. Actually, let's start at suborbital since you never know if there's anything new over there. So we are at the north end of the launch site now. There isn't a whole lot happening over here. Most of the stuff is pretty stagnant as far as any changes from last week. They are still working on test stand A. It seems like this looks like some flex hose that's going to be added up here soon.
Is that a right behind it? I can't tell if that's a railing system with a staircase or something. Is that what I'm seeing back there? In that spot right there, yeah, going diagonal.
Yeah, there's a
like
staircase right there. Let's see if I can get a better angle of it.
Oh, that's I think that's fairly new, unless it's the old staircase.
It's so hard to see from here. Yeah,
it's the old staircase. Okay,
ladder staircase.
Ladder to staircase. I would ladder to or staircase to staircase or ladder to ladder. But okay,
is that a shield?
That's the blast panel.
Oh, to cover the pipes.
Yeah, exactly.
Very nice.
They've got the new configuration for the, let's see, booster or Starship 22 would work on this, as well as 24, 25, and above.
Yeah, they're going to need to install a QD onto here, so it should look similar to this one when it's done. So this structure right here, I'm guessing, are probably building it right now at Sancho's site. Probably aren't in a rush because they have this stand. All they have to do is change out the clamps on here for 24 if they need to.
Or just mix and match some parts and you'll be good.
Hey, look at
some more donations. Wow. So Sebastian Boyle says, hope everyone is having a great day. Donated 5.5 British pounds. Heat 2.0 says, what will the soft be used for now? I'm not sure what the
suborbital tank farm.
Oh,
it will be used for suborbital tank farming. I think that they're not really gonna. I mean, it would be really cool if soon they start doing suborbital flights, which I don't really see a reason to do other than maybe getting in a hypersonic test. That'd be cool.
They'll do a lot of static fires coming up with that pads A and B. They really need to do a lot of that, especially if they're going to do that. Anywhere close to 1,000 Starship year, 1,000 starships a year number that Elon wants to do. Or it's not 1,000. It's something like 7 or 3 a week. So 1,000 starships total.
So I just noticed down here, actually, they have the where'd they go? These are the bumpers for the. They go on the ship QD arm on the tower, and these bump up against the Starship, and so those were removed. Luckily, these ones haven't left the launch site, but I noticed that they do have some more things down here that look very similar to it. This appears to be another one right here. I can't tell
if that's straight or curved.
It looks curved. I see a shadow underneath it, and you can see the curve up top. To me, that looks. Sorry for the quick motions. This thing is so far away. It looks almost the exact same.
They're probably viewing it from above. That's why it's basically on its the white side is face down.
I wish I could.
Why would there be 3 of them though? Yeah,
that's a great question. I thought I saw.
Maybe it's something else because it's not nearly wide enough.
And this is another one right here.
Looks like some shelving racks to me on that last one.
Yeah, I guess they look different a little bit. Maybe that's a little bit of a stretch, guys. Don't tell anybody that they're replacing those. So, yeah, there's not a whole lot down in this area this week, other than Ship 21, which is sitting down here not using its QD.
So, one of the theories that it seems to be the most reasonable theory of why it's there, because we know we're not going to fly with this. Most likely they're going to take off the engines. They put it on the test stand, take off the engines, and that's a really quick way to do it while they're there.
I just noticed something. I didn't realize that the ship QD wasn't actually connected. And to me, this kind of reminds me of something some speculation that I said several months ago now, that these transport stands are designed to be, and we already know this, they're test stands, but in my opinion, I think this is, as I said before, an HLS launch mount, like their first version, a prototype of the HLS launch mount. And it's interesting to me that they don't use it for pressurizing while they're moving moving the ship. And that kind of, to me, makes it seem like this is more for structure or for testing. Like it is for transporting, and it's also for testing, but it's more for testing than transporting because of the fact that they're not using it for actually pressurizing the ship.
It's multi-purpose, but it's the cryo tests, going basically the cryo test stands that they want to use that with.
Yeah, I would have thought that like you would want to just be able to sit this on top of the SPMTs and connect directly to the QD and not have to like actually get up there with ladders and whatnot or man baskets trying to connect all these stuff. I thought they were trying to make things easier, but maybe that's not the case yet. I guess we'll have to wait and see if those evolve as well. But moving on, we have the Booster 7 transport stand.
Yep.
Random ladder just hanging out on the SPMT.
A couple of ladders everywhere.
Yeah, this one hasn't been getting as much love lately, other than the fact that they moved the stabilization pins from. Well, let's see if we can get a better.
This is Booster Transport Stand 1.
Yeah, so Booster Transport Stand 1 initially had these stabilization pins on it, and they took them off and moved it over to Booster Transport Stand 3. And yeah, I thought they started installing scaffolding on this, but I actually don't see it. And I'm guessing that it was only on the Booster 5 transport stand.
That's right. So yeah, you were looking at images. I think somebody posted a video or images that made it look like it was at the launch site, because they were just looking at one air hit the launch site, and then we went to Sanchez, and so it confused a lot of people. But it was all Booster 5's transport stand, which is B transport stand number 3.
Mm-hmm.
So
I just noticed Jessica Kirsch joined the chat, so shout out to Jessica Kirsch. Thank you for joining us. She's a little bit late today, so she missed out on Felix being here and also the invite to join us next week if you would like. It's really nice getting other content creators on here, people who are like really experienced with everything. I mean, especially you're out there every day, Jessica, which is really awesome. You definitely get a different view of all of these things. So Jessica, Chief, Ellie in Space, anybody, any other content creators who would like to join us on the show and talk about some of the things. Maybe if you just have questions too, that's all. You guys are always welcome to join us. So thank you for being in the chat, Jessica. Always a reliable viewer. I'm sure she's probably just got home from Starbase or something as well too. One of the things that we were talking about last week was the fact that Booster 8 seems to have more. I mean, obviously it has. I just call this Booster 8, Booster 4.
yeah,
obviously has the grid fins installed, but even like if you ignore the actual grid fins, the actual motors themselves to me look different than the ones that are on Booster 7. As far as, well, let me just go ahead and show it actually.
The motors and the mounts are all pretty much there. It's just the grid fins that are apparently missing.
I forgot. I sit there and I just switched to the launch mount, thinking Booster 7 was still sitting on the launch mount. Luckily, it's nearby. Actually, you know what? These actually kind of look the same.
Yeah, they are. They all it needs is the grid fins. So it really kills the idea that because it doesn't have the grid fins, it's dead. It just means that we can do a can crusher test later with it, and it won't have the grid fins in the way, which you kind of have to have them off to do a can crusher test. Right now, I believe Marvin is just sitting there ready to do a lift of Booster 7. So yeah, it's not going to get that test done right now. They don't have the top hat brought over and put on the can crusher with the Booster 7 there. So that's not going to happen right now. Maybe later, but not right now.
I am going to make a prediction that we're going to see some major work on probably the launch mount or the launch tower soon.
That's a lot of scaffolding.
Yeah, they would. This is a lot of scaffolding, and this isn't sitting here waiting to get shipped off. This is staged so they can use it. I think that they are definitely going to be setting this up around something soon, obviously. But let's look at what they already do have scaffolding on so far. Huh, I thought those left the site. We'll return to that later. So going over to the tank farm. Oh, black screen. Tank farm. So going over to the tank farm, last week we mentioned the fact that they have this scaffolding set up around the subcoolers. So these have kind of looked the same pretty much the whole time they've been here. And I was assuming last week that this scaffolding means that they're probably going to start insulating these pipes and either the entire heat exchanger or just the pipes below it. That so these are where it comes in from the top. Actually, it leaves out of the bottom, but the ones that come in from the bottom are liquid nitrogen. So I think they would want to insulate the ones below it because they currently are not insulated. And if you look over at the, let's get even better view. If you look over at the methane side of tank farm, that's exactly what they started doing. So they started installing the insulation wrap over the remaining pipes that needed it on the actual heat exchangers. And I'm assuming they're probably doing that down below right now too. Like I said, I really think it'd be funny if they put a blanket over this whole thing. I don't think that's necessary, and it's also just probably unlikely. But yeah, this is a good sign because it means that they're nearing completion of the tank farm, even though there's clearly still work to do. I mean, we have this pump still sitting on the ground, not being installed. I think they haven't installed it because Jessica's been on vacation, and they only install pumps when Jessica's sitting across the street. So if Jessica can go hang out there, maybe they'll get that that pump installed. But right now, they still only have 3. They're still not even trying to connect this one, the one that is in the ground. And even though they laid out the pipe for it, which is surprising to me, I would think that this is something that you would want to do right now while you're getting the rest of your methane tanks set up. But as of yet, they have not. They haven't done that.
Well, I think it's either one of these two things. It's either putting all their eggs in one basket and hooking up all the pumps that might put them in a precarious position where if something goes really bad, they've lost 4 of their pumps and they have a lot more issues with the system. Or it's just something along the lines, I kind of think it has to do with the PEA. Right now, this is all suborbital testing. There's nothing orbital about this so far on that part of the pump system. The capacity is there for a lot of suborbital testing and some, even static fires or potentially a launch of a booster, but there's nothing really there to say it's enough to do the full thing. And I think that might be part of what's going on here. So they're staging it, getting ready for that launch license, but it's not all complete yet. And that's kind of one of those things where once we get that part of the PEA done here in about 13 days, we'll be hopefully golden on that direction. We can now get the orbital launch license within a month after that.
Every time people say golden, I'm like, what?
You are the golden boy.
Golden and the word exactly threw me off for like my whole life. Teachers always be like, ask questions and somebody answers and they're like, exactly. And I'm like, what? And they're like, what? I'm like, I thought you said my name. That's how they knew I wasn't paying attention. So getting back to the tank farm, a lot of interesting signs over here, which you got to really be paying attention for to notice as far as what I think we should be expecting here soon. So I see some little bit of a remaining scaffolding. So as I said last week, this black pipe that we see right here is the I'm going to call it the discharge line. So you have a fill line and you have a discharge line. Your fill line is the one right here that's on the landing pad, and this has, as you can see, 5 parking spots for methane tanks to back into, some flex hoses for them to attach their trucks and offload into. And they offload into this white pipe there's actually, you can barely see it, a smaller pipe right underneath it, which most likely holds gaseous nitrogen. And so when they finish offloading methane, they'll purge this entire line using gaseous nitrogen. So that's the one that goes underneath it. And you can see it better right here. You can see the smaller line that goes underneath it. And the big line, the black one that goes right here, is the discharge. So you fill all of them up, and then they collect into the discharge. It goes over here. You can see that they just finished welding this, just finished welding that, just finished welding here and here. This is where it joins the larger methane tanks. So the larger methane tanks all feed into this. There's 7 methane tanks in total, and everywhere that there's scaffolding is the last remaining work that they need until they can reactivate this. So as soon as the scaffolding disappears, we'll probably start seeing methane trucks start arriving again. I take that back. They'll probably put small amounts of nitrogen, I imagine, in each of these first. Test them with nitrogen and then swap over to methane. But yeah, I mean, we have one set of scaffolding right here, one right here. These ones are all gone, so it appears that the, I don't know if we want to number them this way. I guess tanks 3, 4, and 5 are done, and 6 and 7 are almost completed. You can see a little bit of, well, that's a scissor lift, but you can tell that they're still working on these areas. And once this scaffolding disappears, like I said, we should see them start doing tests using methane, because they have not done that. Well, they have done it, but it's been a long time. They've been working on this for about two, almost 3 months now. So we're getting close. Hopefully that's a good sign about, being able to potentially do some static fire testing with a booster, which would be amazing.
So actually, you have a couple questions pulling up here. First off, Jessica Kirsch asked a question. Any talk about a potential dig for a second OLAT at Starbase? And so this is something we've been talking about a little bit earlier. So far, the current basically expansion plans are on hold. It's suspended as far as the Army Corps of Engineers. They need additional information for the PEA. That process right now that SpaceX doesn't quite have. They are making agreements with other agencies about how they will set things up and use the land, and how water and other things are basically negotiated here. And that is before they can go through and expand their site. They need that information to give to the Army Corps of Engineers. And then another part was a question about how you can join us in the studio. So for Patreon SN3 Plus, or SN3 or above, you can join us here in the studio to listen live directly during these photography reviews here. So definitely check that out. I posted a link earlier. Hopefully it went through in the chat. So go ahead and join us. You won't be able to talk directly without being one of the members invited directly here. So I think that helps out with that as well. And we might be able to have somebody talk to us here soon if they jump in. And at least one other thing that's nice is once we're done, we go down to the green room where we could talk to you directly and you could talk with us. So that's a bit of fun. But go ahead. One other thing, we have a question that's directly for what you're talking about, Colby. It says, why don't they just take the tanks and they build by themselves? Or why don't they, I'm not sure exactly how to ask this question, but it's from 5Max.
Well, why not just use the ones, so is he talking about removing the ones that they have, that they built?
Just, why not use the ones that they built, I think. Those 2 on the far right, the methane tanks, why not use those?
Okay. This is a deep one. Before I go into that, I just want to say Thomas just reached 200 followers, so shout out to everybody who followed Thomas on Twitter. We're getting closer. I'm going to briefly, before I touch on that, Thomas, let's show one more thing, because these guys put in some effort to get this to me. And I said this at the beginning of the show that guys from Too Legit to Quit and oh my gosh, I always do this. What's his name? It'll come to me. Give me a second, guys. So they put together the view of the bottom of the wide bay, and I mentioned that they were going to show us what it would look like. So you can see this is the version with the one booster in there, and now we have a picture of how many boosters you could possibly fit in there while being on transport stands. So this is what it would look like with 7 boosters in there. While that's highly unlikely, this is like super storage mode, like
Hurricane coming in kind of thing.
Yeah, Hurricane / somehow Raptor 3 still uses the same engine mounts as Raptor 2, and we're going to refit all of our boosters, so you like bring all of them into the wide bay at the same time, and have a massive Raptor party. But this right here to me makes a little bit more sense as far as like normal operations goes, because of the fact that you want to have room for ring sections and obviously SPMTs to move through here. So even if this booster right here gets a little bit closer to the wall, you have space for ring sections to move almost all the way to the back, and you could theoretically, even if you move this one closer, move them all closer to the corners, then you could be constantly working on 4 boosters at a time. Will they do that? Yet to be seen, and it'll also be hard to know because it's going to be really hard to see what's in the wide bay at times, in my opinion. So returning back. So, and I remember the other name. It's Lola-matic and Too Legit to Quit. I don't know if we ever ended up getting the links for their Twitters in the chat, but if you guys follow me on Twitter, I posted an image last night trying to trick people into thinking that was a real picture from the wide bay. I don't know if it worked or not, but that is where that picture came from. So thank you guys for sending that my way. So getting back to the tank farm, I think we're almost wrapped up here. The question.
Yeah. So what's with the 2 tanks on the right? You can take this the short version or the long version.
Let's go long. So I think it's a good idea to understand like what is really fully happening at this tank farm. So obviously you have your liquid oxygen cooling and pumps on the left side and your methane on the right side. These 3 tanks are LOX. These are liquid nitrogen, and these are methane. This is your water tank. Obviously, this methane is extremely close to the liquid oxygen. And just to like put this into perspective for you guys, I have an image of the old Pad 39A, and let's see what it looks like. So this is Pad 39A, and really the main things you need to see here are this hydrogen tank and this LOX tank, and just notice how far away they are. That is, in my opinion, really smart. I just don't think you should be having those your oxidizer or fuel like that close together. Oops, apologies. Going back. Sorry, I'm switching images. So that, in my opinion, is a problem. But getting into the actual rules, and I've said this before, if you guys have watched the show, one of the big things about storing liquid hydrocarbons is that you have to follow certain rules. And one of those rules is that you need a 6-foot fence surrounding everything that carries methane. So that is why you have a wall going around all of your methane transport pipes. You have another wall going around the actual storage tanks themselves. A wall going around these storage tanks, and a wall going around these. And somebody's probably going to ask, so I'll just go ahead and explain it. these right here, I believe, are reclamation tanks. So when you drain all your methane out of the booster, unlike the liquid oxygen, which you can basically just flow it backwards through here and refill those tanks, when you see a detank happen, you'll actually notice the vent on the front of the liquid oxygen tank will start having a ton of venting coming out of it, and that's because some of the liquid oxygen is boiling off as it's coming back to the tanks. So it vents as it exceeds the pressure of the tank. It vents out here in order to maintain pressure. But you don't want to do that with the methane tanks because, you don't want gaseous methane coming out of the tanks when Jessica's live streaming. So instead, you temporarily hold them in here, and any gas that is present, you are going to re-liquefy it before you put it back into the tanks. So I think that this tank right here is actually for, people are probably going to disagree, and I could be wrong. I think this one is for maintaining the temperatures of methane in these. So you'll more likely constantly see this one venting as it's constantly cooling the methane in these. And these tanks,
Blue is part of that system, but the other one on the top that is the Tankenstein, that one's for pressurization.
Yeah, so one of them will happen constantly, and in my opinion, the other one happens during a detank, and that's what I've seen, is that, once these tanks are being used is when you're going to be seeing this become active, because they're trying to reliquefy the gas. So again, you have to have protection over anything that's carrying methane, and with that fence that I was talking about, the fence has to be 4.5 feet away from the edge of the tanks. So you can see right here, this is almost exactly what 4.5 feet is from the wall of that tank. And the problem with in here is that you literally have 4.5 feet of space in between here. It might be slightly more than that.
Yeah, so the exterior shells are the place you start with, which unfortunately the regulations changed during the building of this. So what they were building it for no longer can be certified because things have changed.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting, and I'll have to double check this before I say it. That you literally can't put a wall in between here, even if you wanted to, and get it 4.5 feet away from this tank. You could do it around the outside, but you can't do it in between. And another rule that exists is that you cannot have any electrical or comms lines. They have to be 5 feet away, I believe, from the edge of the tank. And this obviously is not going to happen in here. And truthfully, if this was storing methane, I don't even know if this light could be here. It would maybe have to be, I don't think they would even be able to have a light on this tank because of that rule. I'd have to double check that one. So don't quote me on that. But there are literally no electrical lines anywhere near these tanks. So I'm going to go ahead and stand by that this light would not be able to be on here per the rules. I don't know if that answers his question.
I think that does. I mean, it's a long form of it, but it does. Overlord Raven sent 20 Canadian dollars and says, I love the in-depth and detailed episodes. Keep up the great work. So, that is definitely an in-depth analysis here. I've got a couple more questions.
We're almost at 700 likes, Thomas.
Oh, geez. Wow. We passed 690.
You guys are amazing.
We're not at 690. We're almost to 690.
Yeah, 686. We're about to hit 700 now that I just said that. Thank you guys so much for the support. And Thomas, continue what you were saying.
So Senti asked the question. I asked earlier, and last time we were up to 3 traveling blocks or hooks in the new high bay. So the new high bay has 2 blocks, but they have a third, which is a spare. It's an extra. So either something happened to one of the blocks, or they just have one as a spare.
Do you want to explain what a traveling block is for the viewers who don't know?
It's just the hook essentially of the bridge crane that goes up and down. It has a bunch of areas where it basically goes back and forth on the wire rope that is called reeving. But anyways, it's just an extra one to answer that question. The Shard Baby asks, Do we know the name of the Starship launch tower pad at the Cape yet?
OLIT2?
That's what I would think of it as. I don't know if there is a specific name. There was some names of the site itself. I heard that was next to Hangar X. They called it like something. It wasn't just Star Factor. It had something else attached to it over there. So that's a new one. I think it was in the Marcus House video this morning that just was released. So that's a good one to check on. Tom B asks. There is boil-off vent or on one of the unusable CH4 tanks. How long has that been there for? Have you seen any venting off of the side of that?
No, that they've never vented off the side of it. They do have a vent installed on it. They just haven't actually used it. And that vent that he's talking about, matter of fact, let me just go ahead and grab an image of it. Apologies.
You can just scroll down and we could see it from there.
It's on the back side right here.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Yeah, so this one, in my opinion, was meant to be another nitrogen vent. And this would be where the nitrogen would vent as it's re-chilling the methane on the way back. And the other option that I think potentially was supposed to happen, or may even still happen, is that these vents on the back of the heat exchanger, they have valves on them, so when they want to start releasing pressure from here as they're chilling methane and the nitrogen is boiling off, they open up these valves and you'll start to you can hear them open. You'll start to get the venting out of the back of these. And in my opinion, I think that they maybe were planning, and possibly still are, to pipe this over to the vent so that it's raised up, it's venting higher up, and it's not like all on the ground freezing everything. I don't know if that's what the actual purpose of it was going to be for, but it's just my assumption. The liquid oxygen ones are designed completely differently. They actually don't have a valve. It's just a flap, similar to like an 18-wheeler, how the exhaust has the exhaust stack has the flap on it. So as the pressure builds up, it opens up. And that's how these work. As the pressure builds up inside, these just flap open and the gas naturally comes out. But on the methane side, that doesn't happen. They open it. They control that purge. So in my opinion, I think that a manifold is supposed to connect to these and go up to here, and it may just be a change of plans because of the fact that they're not using these tanks, that they're like, well, we may have to get rid of this, and so we're just not going to use it for that.
Speaking of pressure building up, I got to tell you something. We've surpassed 700 likes. We're at 713 or so. Rocket Prophet, he posted $25 for the new record of likes, and Dave Avery, $7 for the 700 likes. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, you guys are amazing. It's always fun to do these shows. Super glad that Felix got to join us, and I'm glad that you guys stayed with us even after he left. That means a lot. You guys are amazing, and yeah, I mean it's fun to do these every week, and it's exciting to us that you guys are like still interested in it, even when there's no test. Well, there's a little bit of testing, but when it seems like things are slowing down, like I said before, you guys are the real fans. So,
and one thing before we move on, I have a special treat. There's gonna be a merch drop at the end of the stream, so just stay tuned for that. And back to you, Zach.
A merch drop.
Yeah.
Can I get in on this?
You haven't seen it? Let me send you the link for the
So while you're grabbing that, oops, my mic is just having a mind of its own, falling out of my reach. So let's go over to the launch mount. We kind of talked about this before. I think they installed a permanent ladder inside of the opening right here. So
It's a single step stair. It's not exactly a ladder. It's on both sides actually. So the left
there's another
side,
one.
just beyond where you can't see it, right there. Yeah, you got one on the left and one on the right.
Yeah, there's the one right here, one right there, and then there's permanent railing going up along the outside, so no more scaffolding. I mean, this thing is getting close to its final look. I don't think we're fully there yet.
So the vertical members are permanent, but the horizontal ones, those are pinned in and removable. So it is both removable and permanent.
Oh,
look at those hold clamps.
They can just take them off.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Wait, you cut out a little bit there, Thomas. You still with us?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, just making sure your computer didn't start an update in the middle of a live stream. It's been a long time since that's happened.
Oh, I updated this morning. We're good.
So we got a super chat from John Dopker. Oh, I hope I got that right. And he said, "Gotta say, I've learned more about rocketry and the engineering behind the scenes following guys like you. Again, thanks all." And John, we really appreciate that. It's really fun for us to be able to teach people things. And I personally really like when we talk about things on here, then you hop in chat or something and you see people talking about it days from now. It's like it's really awesome that you guys are learning things and it's actually sticking. And you guys are able to speak to this stuff yourself, which is really, really awesome.
Thanks so much, John. We got about 12 minutes left here. Actually, 14 minutes left. What do we got? What's another element we need to look at that
we I think we should hop over to ground pigs.
Okay.
Which I will say right now are not anywhere near as organized as these are, as the aerials. So you guys are going to have to bear with me as I'm scrolling through these.
Nice 3.6 meter dome, and it looks like it's sleeved for maybe a test tank. Is that what I'm looking at?
Wait.
But it's not capped. Oh, it's just in front of it. I think that's what we're seeing. No, that's got a barrel in it.
Yeah, you can see the weld.
Maybe it's going to be a flat dome on one side and the top dome on this guy on the other, but they haven't finished off the rest of it. I don't understand what's going on there.
Yeah. I'm not the guy to ask that one. Your guess is as good as mine. We always mention just how these welds are getting cleaner, and they're also cranking these out way faster than they used to.
Yeah, this is an old test article or an older article. I mean, you can see the rust on it. It's quite evident. But you can see that double parallel line. That is where they are welded together, and then you've got some vertical stringers just right above that. That's what those are. Just tiny little ones. But yeah, if we want to go ahead and skip through some of these, we can cover a little bit more ground. But yeah, these are all pretty much the same.
People are going to get mad when I'm scrolling through these quickly. Okay. Don't worry, I'll stop at the good stuff, guys. We got, this has to be the high bay. Nope, this is the mid bay. I think we got a crane reaching in here on...
I think that's the high bay, though.
What?
Because the mid bay is to the left. This
is ship 24, right?
No, that's a booster. It's got the stringers along the common dome.
I'm signing off. Everybody's going to hate on me for saying that. As soon as I saw the ribs, I was like, no, that's got to be a booster. But then I think it's this box right here, which looks very similar to the one on the Starship.
It's a flight termination system is what that is. It's the same on both now.
Well, get to hating, haters. They're going to... forklift here.
So those are probably... transformers. Dave Avery, he talked about those last night, and we talked about a lot of things. So that's one of the few times I invoke people, but that aren't here. But anyways, he works with this stuff all the time, and yeah, you don't stack other things on top of it. Bad things happen.
I noticed that Senti just showed up, and Senti, it's about 45 minutes back, but I have a message for you that you will probably enjoy. So
go back to that last photo. There might be a little bit to talk about there. The really nice tool chest. Okay, move forward. the tool chest is to the right. That's about it. That's all you could really talk about for this. Otherwise, it's just a lot of electrical stuff. They've got a new structure in the grounds fabrication building here. Not sure exactly what it's for. It's being a bit overbuilt on this structure here. So it's not just a normal building, but the one to the right, that is basically just an office. It looks like the 39A Coraxis arm, but made out of stainless steel. It's got a air conditioning and a way to prevent UV from coming in when they're welding and blinding people in the office. So when they look out, they're not directly blinded. Moving forward. So we figured out what those are, those to the left. So those little pieces back there, yeah, those guys. So basically that's the roofing material. It's called a standing seam roof. It's just a bunch of panels stacked on top of each other, and it curves inside of itself. And that's why it kind of looks that way. But it's all just these flat panels. I mean, if you go up to the mountains or see a mountain cabin, that is the kind of standing seam roof panel that you would see there. It's a bit wider on it, but it's the same thing. And they crimped them together to make it waterproof. And then the actual columns that we've been looking at that are standing up in the background, we have a few of those in the foreground, but it's really strange on how they're starting this building out. It's too short right now. I suspect they're going to put more elements going up vertical because I don't want it to be
crazy. Look at this. Look at this beam right here versus this one. They make no sense. They're all at different heights.
Those ones are actually, I think, widths are the big one right there. The widths and the heights.
Yeah. It's very interesting. I mean, these ones and the down here are all pretty uniform. Those make sense, but these ones in front don't. It almost looks like a wall of something, like a really poorly made, like use your extra metal pieces to make a wall, like put a fence around this building or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a structure in the background. It's on some shipping containers that they're working on that image. That structure I went through and kind of figured out how tall it is. Could you fit a nose cone in there? Maybe, barely. It's about 44 feet in height, and the nose cones, they're about 44 feet in height. So we're probably missing some room with the jig. I don't think nose cones would go in there. It's just too tight of a tolerance. But it is very height specific.
Let's see if I have an aerial to show it.
Hey guys, we're almost at T-minus 6 minutes, 7 minutes from finishing up.
Do you want to go through your merch drop that you were bringing up here?
No, we can finish up the ground shots.
Okay.
Just so that we can get through most of them. I kind of feel bad. I'm kind of thinking like, man, I shouldn't have gone out there for the ground shots. You're only going to show like 5.
No, let's go through more of the ground shots. We can rush it a little bit.
That's weird. I don't know where this. I can't tell where this is.
It doesn't exist yet. That's the thing.
Oh.
It does not exist in this photo. That's right there is where it is. Those 2 shipping containers. That's what we're looking at. So two high and then the left side and the right side. The shipping containers, I believe, towards one side are the 9.6 feet shipping containers, and the ones in the back that are white, those are going to be the 8.6. And so they've got this additional height extension going on underneath the I-beams. So right there, yeah.
Yeah.
So keep moving forward on the ground pics, and we can probably breeze through them here real quick. But thank you, Mauricio. I did study these ground pictures quite a bit last night. That's kind of my area I go for. Oh, this is the bakery. Go back to that image. Look at those pans. Those are like for cooking, but we might be looking at something for heat shield tiles, technically. You could use something like that for your heat shield tiles. Maybe that's why they call it the bakery.
Racks, like racks right here that you would put them on.
It was just one funny theory that we went through and talked about yesterday. Yeah.
I mean, it looks like it to me. This looks like an exhaust, maybe from who knows?
Yeah, but then the rest of it just seems to be mostly storage. So I don't think it's quite there yet, but we can keep going forward, looking some more. So we've got the inside of low bay, and it's just the new barrel section, 5-ring stack, ready to have more stuff to added to it. I think that's one of the same sections of that tent that we were looking at just a moment ago. You've got a welding vacuum machine on the left.
Random flap in here.
Yeah. Oh, and we do have somebody else in here. Who, if they want to join us and say hello, they're more than welcome to. Welcome to the studio, Jessica. You should be able to unmute if you'd like to talk to us. Otherwise, just welcome. Anybody else can join in as well to listen in on the studio. We also have a green room where we can all chat at the very end. So anybody who is SN3 Plus can listen in live on Discord, as well as the green room at the very end. More wide bay pictures, and looks great. They're getting the paneling up quick. Nice staircase.
Hi,
Hello,
Jessica.
Jessica. I heard you.
Oh, she's definitely here. I think she may be having a mic issue.
She might not be able to hear us.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you. Welcome.
Times. Hi, everybody. Sorry, I'm working on my mic issues. I'll be right back.
That was great.
No, it sounds good, but you're probably hearing us on the YouTube stream, so you might want to mute that. That's something that happens to us way more than we care to admit.
Hey, look at that. That is the first sign, actually, that there will for sure be concrete up here. This is a little lip right here for that the edge of it to pour against.
Yeah, and those little U panels that they have divots all over it, so it doesn't need shear studs or anything like that. It just works very well with the concrete. So maybe 3-4 inch concrete max.
With Jessica here, I think maybe we'll go a few minutes long if unless anybody has any objections. I'm really excited Jessica joined us. How have you been, Jessica?
Doing well. Thanks for having me. I appreciate this.
Wow, what a day.
Excited for you to join us. Saw you hop into chat in there, so glad you got to hop in here. You're like our on-site expert, always being out there. Did you go outside today?
I was there late last night and not this morning, not today. I've been washing my trailer and doing my taxes. Woo!
Oh man, that reminds me. I hope my mom's not listening. She's been texting me about doing taxes for all week. I'm like, I gotta get ready for the show. That's what I'm gonna be doing after this. Taxes.
Yeah, I got some forward flaps there, or at least the covers, these would technically be chines on this. They're part of the wing structure.
These are the old ones. Right?
Yeah, to be pedantic, yes, they're chines.
What is chine? The definition.
It just means that it is an aerodynamic surface that is a leading edge of a wing or part of the wing structure that is not the wing itself. So, and then the strakes are what we have on the booster. Technically, those long thing with the COPVs, and that's not a booster. That's a Starship. Like, that's 21, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh,
She did.
I'm glad to see it gone. It's obstructive view. The broken heat tiles look terrible.
Yeah, I just hope that next time I go out there, that thing's out there, or they don't put something else in the way.
Yeah, but get some good shots inside the mid bay with that thing gone. I'm scrolling through these rather quickly, so if you guys see anything that you wanted me to stop on, let me know.
Keep on going. They're looking good. There's plenty to talk about. Oh, zoom in on this one. We've got the actual name of this component. I called it a shoulder blade this entire time. It's an aft static arrow leading edge. That just sounds so.
Name.
So
a sail.
As Ali?
Azale?
I don't know.
What does a PY stand for at the end there?
Physical? I don't know.
We'll never know. Wow, this nose cone looks really good in the high bay.
Yeah, that's gotta be high bay.
Yeah, it's tucked in there pretty good. That's actually the only way to get a picture of it to go out into the marsh out there.
Oh, there, you guys. I've been down there, Jessica and Mauricio. So there's those same pieces that we were talked about that are the roof material. But yeah, so you guys, when you go down there and taking all these pictures and videos, you have to do quite a bit of walking just to get a view of inside parts of high bay or any other structure from the road where you can take these pictures. There's a lot that you have to do. So, thank you each for your work on doing that and how hard that is.
Hey Zach, I think I think you can maybe start wrapping it up, and I mean it's up to you if you want to keep going or.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we can wrap it up, and I'm sure Jessica will join us in the green room. And Jessica, sorry you joined us a little bit late, but you're more than welcome to also come on next week as well too, and any week. But yeah, stay with us in the green room. But I guess we can go through our little ending credits really quick.
By the way, that PY, we have the answer to that already. Thank you for that, Spoil Sport. P is positive, Y is the direction. That was it.
Hey Zach, I don't know. So you're gonna end it without showing the merch drop, or
Wait, where's the merch drop?
I tagged you like 5 times in the chat.
Oh, here we go. Hold
No,
on.
not that one. But that's a good one you need to subscribe to. Also need to subscribe to Jessica
Sorry
Kerr.
about that, guys.
Merch drop. Merch drop.
Oh, let's look at that. So we got a Starship engine skirt design. I love that. I'm about to buy that later today, actually.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Nice. We got all 9 outer engines plus the center 3. So if you guys want one of these, it looks like they're $29.99. And Mauricio, did you drop the link in the chat?
Just before you do, just wanted to talk a little bit about the design here. I had the old design with the 3 RVACs, so I had to update it to 6, and then I had to take off the landing legs because obviously that's not part of the new design, and also the aft flaps are a little bit shorter. So I did well, the original design was made by Neil Pork. He hasn't been active on Twitter lately, but yeah, he's a pretty good artist. Follow him I'll see if I can post the link on the chat there, but it's a pretty good design. I had to alter it a little bit so it could be current.
Yeah, I love that. I would order right now, but then everybody's gonna see my credit card information, so I will hold off. So it looks like Mauricio just threw that link into the chat. So if you guys want one of these for yourself, there it is. And we are at the end of our show, so we want to thank everybody for being here. Before we go, and before I let Thomas and Mauricio give a sign off, if any of you guys have not followed us on Twitter, please make sure you do. All of our handles are on the bottom down there. Like I said, we try and keep you guys updated and drop early information as far as Mauricio definitely likes to drop the coolest things of the flyover before we do the show. So if you guys want to see that before we do the show, make sure you're following him. And just for general updates during the week, we're always super active on Twitter, and Thomas is getting there. So thank you guys for joining us. And Mauricio and Thomas, I'll let you guys give us a sign off.
All right. Well, thank you for having me. And actually, first, Jessica Kirsch, thank you for dropping in. It's fun to have you in as well.
Thanks for having me, everybody.
And Mauricio?
Yes, thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you for the memberships and the support for these flyovers. And I'll pass this along to Thomas so you can do the final sign off here.
All right. So 2 things. First off, if you would like to join us in the green room, we will be there after the show. I'll post the link here. And the other part is stage separation confirmed. And we have main engine cutoff, yeah. Main engine cutoff, that's stage separation
so bad. Here, let's restart. Separation confirmed, no, we're not going to do it.
All right.
We're missing Grandpa Joe. We will see you guys next week. Thank you guys for joining us. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. And like Grandpa Joe would say, love you, bye.